Suffering from hair loss, bald spots, receding hairlines? There's a new solution for men and women that uses regenerative medicine to stimulate hair follicles and give you thicker, fuller hair with no surgery. This remarkable treatment is now available here from the
You damn right. Hope everybody's having a good Wednesday. Day after Valentine's Day. If you're having a good Feb 15. If it's your anniversary, happy anniversary. I know a lot of people have done that over the years. If you are one of those people who's working your Valentine's discounts, now's the time to get out there. Everything just went on sale. Make your plans for this weekend. You'll still look like you care, and it'll help your pocketbook a little bit. Chad and Zay on this Wednesday. I'm Chad Hastings, joined once again by Isaiah Collier. He did not have to sweat Valentine's Day because he knew, and he knows who he married. What's up, Zay?
What up, Chad? Yes, sir. No Valentine's Day for me. I don't have to worry about getting into no fight later.
Look at you.
I don't have no sulking girlfriend being upset with me because I didn't get her no gift. Life's good.
How about that? And because of the incredible efforts of my wife, what do you also have to take to your wife tonight?
Got my Girl Scout cookies.
Boom! There you go.
I mean, took you long enough.
Yeah, it did. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Wendy.
I'm so sorry. I don't even know. I don't even know how to tell you. It was one of those, I think, because we've gone at least one or two Girl Scout seasons where I don't know that I've brought any to work because the COVID thing messed it up, and I can't remember the last time I would have brought it to somebody at work, and they were sitting there, and I just passed them every day. I'd pass right by them, and we talked about, hey, do you want to wait to pay me till I bring them to you? And you probably should have. But you were nice enough to go, no, man, here, I trust you here.
Yeah, because I would think that would give you extra motivation to get the job done.
Oh, my Lord. Now, to be fair, with the moment you paid me, we did not have them in-house. They had to be acquired from a Girl Scout cookie source. So they weren't actually there that day. So it may have been a day or two, if not 3 days, where they weren't even in the house, and that messed my brain up. But anyway, to Mrs. Collier and all those that have gotten their Girl Scout cookies recently, you do have that to look forward to right after Valentine's Day. So we hope you had a great Valentine's Day, whatever you needed it to be. Hopefully you got that. whatever you're doing, watching sports, or if you are, going out for a nice meal, going out for a nice dinner, trying to make it a nice romantic evening. Zay gave you all those musical ideas yesterday, so we hope you were able to do all of those things. And like I said, so to some people, I know there's a few anniversaries there. I am thinking of my father-in-law today, my wife's stepmom that just passed away. This was their anniversary. So I know my wife's going to be reaching out today because I can't imagine what that's going to be like. First anniversary after they're gone, and you're just sitting there alone in the house. So that's what he's going through today. And I know my brother-in-law and sister-in-law are going to make sure to take him out to eat tonight and, can try to take his mind off of it a little bit. So shout out to all those lovebirds out there, and Valentine's Day. We hope it was not too filling for you. I had some good food and good dessert and all that kind of good stuff. So
What'd y'all have last night?
We did a little Cajun food last night.
Okay.
A little place in Maynard that we like, and they were handing out roses to the ladies, which is nice. And it wasn't packed, so we walked right in. Now, we walked in at between 7:40, and they closed at 9. So we probably walked in at 7:45, so a little later than normal. But, had a nice meal, came home, had a little ice cream, and had a good time.
Yeah, it's a big night for you. Now, when it comes to Cajun, where do you go? Are you a fried type of guy, etouffee, gumbo?
In this case, we did some seafood, like Cajun egg rolls as an appetizer.
Oh, wow.
It was nice. And then they have a redfish, a stuffed redfish that I cannot get away from. It's too good.
Huh.
Oh, it's great. You can take pretty much any seafood item, go Cajun spice, and then stuff it with some sort of crab, flounder, that kind of stuff. I'll order it every time.
Okay, what the missus have?
And she went with a shrimp. Like it was like a little fried shrimp on the side, and then what was it she had? Shrimp and she's not super into a lot of the seafood stuff. So I think there was like a chicken dish.
Okay.
And then with some shrimp on the side.
Yeah, sounds fire.
Yeah.
I love me some Cajun food.
It was pretty good. So what happens in your house where it's not focused on Valentine's? Your wife tells you, we're not doing some special Valentine's thing. That's not how I roll. So what happens in your house last night?
We watched The Bachelor. We watched The Bachelor. And,
total romance.
Yeah, we just make fun of all the contestants and stuff like that. And yeah, we have a good time. She made burger bowls, which is just hamburger, cheeseburger without the bun.
There you go.
Bomb.
Healthy burgers.
Healthy burgers.
Well done.
Yeah, very good.
Eat healthy. Watch The Bachelor.
Yeah, love The Bachelor. People don't know from my B&E days, Bucky and Aaron always give me crap about it. I love The Bachelor. That's one of me and my wife's guilty pleasures. Okay. I have no shame in loving The Bachelor, Bachelorette, Bachelor in Paradise, the whole nine. I love it all. It's great.
You do the whole franchise.
The whole franchise. It's great trash TV.
I think sometimes you have to have some mindless television that you can get into.
Right.
Just something that completely takes your mind off whatever it is. That's why Jerry Springer became so popular. That's our thing sometimes on vacation. Just to watch an episode or two of like a Jerry Springer, Maury Povich, something like that.
Yeah, because it's just randomly on at probably the time we're on now.
Exactly, yeah. It's the middle of the day and you're on a vacation schedule. We'll watch 2 episodes of that while eating lunch and then get on with our day.
The greatest Springer episode of all time is when this fool Jerry made these 2 brothers hoop outside on this bootleg-ass goal for Homegirl's Love. They played one-on-one. They kept score to 10. Look it up.
I don't remember that one.
One of the greatest Springer episodes of all time. Both guys are wearing jeans and are shirtless. I'm like, man, we couldn't get them no shorts?
Wow.
Springer's had some low moments. That's probably on top for me.
I was going to say, that's right there. See, I thought you were going to talk about an episode where, there was a KKK member and... a KKK member on one side and the leader of the Black Panthers on the other side or something like that. I thought that's where you were going to go. Wow.
No.
That is crazy. All right. There's a lot of stuff going on today we will get into as we hit the post football time in our world. But football never dies around here. We'll get to that. We also want to remind you to check out the YouTube channel. We are on YouTube. YouTube.com/@TheHornAustin is how you look us up. You can go check it out live, or you can check out shows later on. We will grab parts of shows for you. Right now in the videos section, you can see something labeled Super Bowl Reaction, and you can do the general Super Bowl reaction that we had to the game itself, or the Rihanna halftime discussion, where we found out that Zay was not impressed with Rihanna at halftime, was very much against it, and I was very much for it. So go listen to that breakdown if you want on YouTube, and please help us get to 1,000 subscribers. We're sitting at just under 700. So please, YouTube Nation, help us out. Help us get to 1,000 subscribers. That is our next goal. All right. So we've got a few things to get to. If you're a Longhorn basketball fan, you're probably keeping track of the rest of the Big 12. Zay, we had, I think, an expected victory and an unexpected victory last night in the conference. You said you told me you had a chance to watch this Kansas game. Kansas handling Oklahoma State. What would you tell a Longhorn fan that missed it last night about Kansas? How are they looking right now, and what did they do to the Cowboys?
This is when Bill Self teams start to figure things out. This is when he starts to figure out, okay, who's going to be ready when I need them, who's going to be ready when it comes to March. And, sometimes his teams start off slow, but this is looking like that team that could get right back to the Final Four and defend that national championship that they won last year. And they were down almost going into halftime, and then Grady Dick hits a corner three that just took the heart out of everybody in Cowboys Nation up there in Stillwater.
This was in Stillwater, right?
In Stillwater. Yeah. It just hushed the crowd up. The crowd was rocking. It was going back and forth all in that first half. And then that momentum from Grady Dick's three in the corner, that took them into that second half, and they just put it on them. This is the stat that sticks out in this game. Okay. Oklahoma State, 9 assists. Kansas, 26.
Oh, my God.
26.
26 assists?
Yeah. And one of the smartest things that I think Coach Self is starting to figure out, when DeJuan Harris isn't clicking from just distributing the ball and being that playmaker point guard that all really good Bill Self teams have. We saw Remy Martin last year, his 08 team that won it. Mario Chalmers was that guy then. Now he can look at Texas Tech transfer Kevin McCullough, who played a lot of point guard for Chris Beard and Mark Adams these last few years when he was in Lubbock, and he could put the ball in his hands and say, you go create for us. He had 8 assists last night, 15 points Kevin McCullough did. That's, for me as a Texas fan, if Kevin McCullough starts going, that's the most terrifying thing for this team, because we know Jalen Wilson probably going to be Big 12 Player of the Year, around 20 points a game. We know Grady Dick, he's that lottery pick looking guy. But Kevin McCullough, he's kind of been inconsistent on finding his way in this offense. Again, when he was with Mark Adams and Chris Beard at Texas Tech, he had the ball in his hands a lot, kind of as a point forward. He's around 6'5", 6'6". He's a really good ball handler. This season, a lot of it's been on DeJuan Harris. Now, Coach Self's looking like, okay, McCullough, he could be that point guard for us at times and go out and create for others and get us buckets, and that's what he did last night to the Cowboys. So, even though DeJuan Harris didn't have double figures scoring-wise, only 5 points, the rest of the 4 starters did. KJ Adams, the Westlake alum, 15 points. Jalen Wilson, 14 points. McCullough, as I just mentioned, 15 points. And then Grady Dick, 10 for 17 shooting, 26 points last night. He just showed everything. I mean, just 6'8", pure jumper. It's as quick as lightning, and it's getting faster. Like, his shot's getting faster because he knows, okay, now these guys are coming for me. Now they know I could shoot it. I got to get it off quicker. Plus, he's probably hearing from NBA scouts and stuff. Will he be able to get that shot off in the league, so he knows he's going to have to speed it up. He's done that. He was putting the ball on the deck. Like, he's just a solid player. So, yeah, as a Texas fan, this scares me a little bit because they're starting to look like the Kansas team that always wins the Big 12, that always goes far in March. And we also know that they have one of the best coaches in the nation. So put all of that together, and, yeah, you got a scary team that's starting to click at the right time. And now it's a three-way tie for first with Baylor and Texas, and now the Jayhawks.
Yep, because that gets them to 9-4 in conference. So that's the win I think some people would have expected, even though it's at Oklahoma State, number 5, going in there and getting the win. What they didn't expect, Zay, was Oklahoma doing it again. They're 3-10 now in conference play, but they have outside of conference the whipping of Alabama. And now Oklahoma lays it on Kansas State. Now, this was at home again. The game in Norman is that's going to look better and better, I guess. Maybe look a little better for Texas as it goes along, that they're able to get that win. 79-65 was the final score. Oklahoma shoots 48% from beyond the arc and 51% from the floor and gets another big upset.
Yeah, huge upset. And Kansas State, they're starting to really struggle. You remember, Chad, when I told you about the KenPom rankings having Kansas State all the way back at 25, and I was like, that's really weird. Let's pay attention to that in the upcoming weeks. Here we are now.
There you go. Yeah.
Here we are now. It's just they rely so much on Marquise Noel and Keontae Johnson. And, those guys, they're starting to wear down a little bit, especially Marquise Noel. He's really starting to wear down. He really struggled last night. Uzan, number 12 for Oklahoma. He's a big point guard. He's big for them. He had 13 points. He made it real difficult for Marquise Noel to just see, different angles and to be that really good assist guy that he's been majority of the season. But Grant Sherfield, he's might be the best player in the conference that nobody talks about due to Oklahoma's record. This is still a Big 12 team. Porter Moser, he's still done a pretty decent job in year 2. It's just somebody has to be in last place. And they got a huge win in Norman. And again, this is the team that Texas has to play on Saturday. So that kind of scares you with the momentum that they're bringing in, knowing that it's a rival game, knowing that Texas beat them last time in Norman, knowing that they're desperate and they're fighting for their March Madness lives. It's another trap game for the Horns. And luckily, the Horns could have like this 5-day rest and get back to the basics and understand that, okay, now that Baylor's tied with us, now that Kansas is tied with us, we really got to turn it up. Because a couple of nights ago against Texas Tech just wasn't what you wanted to see. We know Texas Tech kind of has the same pattern as Oklahoma, both desperate, both need every game that they can get. All these quad 1 games, which is another one, them coming into Moody, the Sooners, all those games matter. So Texas, they got to bring it, and we need to see something for those freshmen. We need to see more. Both of the freshmen didn't get more than 10 minutes on Monday night against Tech. Arterio Morris and Dylan Mitchell. That can't happen. That can't happen. I get it. It's not going to be everybody's night, but those guys got to give you something. We cannot have no 7-man rotation going into March Madness. That's due for disaster.
Yeah.
Christian Bishop, he has to bring it. He hasn't played well since Kansas State, which the way Kansas State's looking, how do you feel about that now?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like Dylan DeSue, he played pretty well, but the missed free throw, that still hangs on him. Marcus Carr, those 5 missed free throws. We know what Tyrese Hunter's going through. And at this point, Sir'Jabari Rice can't have a bad game because whenever he has a bad game, Horns lose.
Yeah, no, that's bad. And especially when you're talking about a team like Kansas diversifying the way they are, expanding it out the way they are, and that different guys are looking good for them. One of our texters says Texas basketball too inconsistent and unpredictable right now. If you want to send us something, Specs text line 337-3776. Somebody is predicting, I wouldn't be surprised if Texas got knocked out of March Madness by A&M like the baseball team did in the College World Series.
Oh, no.
I'm not sure if that A&M team is quite there. They did go on a little run, though. They started bad this year. They've been playing better. I don't know if that's a team I would be worried about right now if I'm a Texas fan. You got enough to worry about in the Big 12 right now.
Well, right now, if you look at some brackets, they got A&M as a 10 seed, and they got Texas as a 2. So that means that's a second-round matchup.
I see. Okay, that's what people are looking at.
And that's what people are looking at.
Yeah.
And some, brackets, that's where they have them going.
And by the way, that is exactly what a committee should do.
Yeah.
committees should do that all the time. They'll tell us they don't, but they should.
Yeah.
All the time.
All the time.
Look for coaching matchups that make sense on that level. If you can get Texas and Tennessee on the same side because of the Barnes thing, just if it makes sense, do those type of things. And same thing with rival games like that.
Another game tonight, huge game for Texas, number 1 seed aspirations.
Yeah.
Tennessee versus Alabama.
Oh, okay.
Number 10 versus number 1. Either way, the team that loses will be affected by this somewhat. Not Tennessee.
So you get a little help
much.
either way.
You get help either way. You kind of let Tennessee, if they lose, they get pushed back a little bit, so you don't have to worry about them, hopping in at a number 1 seed, depending on if they win the SEC tournament or something like that. And then that's just another loss for Alabama, who's sitting at number 1, which is crazy. Like you said yesterday, how good their football program is. Now Nate Oates has that team number 1 with Brandon Miller, who's a top 5 lottery pick freshman. And somebody on the Specs text line makes a great point. They said Mitchell, talking about Dylan Mitchell, needs to come back next season. I've never seen a 5-star and supposedly lottery pick be as invisible as he's been all season long. I get what you're saying. We've heard all year long about Dylan Mitchell. He's not that type of guy to go get his own shot. He's not that type. He's a hustled, kind of defensive-minded guy, really athletic, play above the rim type of player. But like I said a couple of weeks ago or a week ago, when you see these freshmen like Brandon Miller dominating and Grady Dick dropping 26 last night and Keontae George being the leading scorer for that good Baylor team that looks like they could go to March Madness and make a Final Four run. And you see somebody like Dylan Mitchell, who came in as like a top 5 player, 5-star guy, and he's barely giving you any minutes, he's definitely not doing what those other guys are doing. It's disappointing. And it reminds you a lot of what Greg Brown went through a couple of years ago. Greg Brown and people always talked about maybe he should have went to a Mount Verde or a Oak Hill or one of these big-time private schools where you play top-tier talent instead of going to Vandergrift. I don't believe in that. I just think that some guys get it and some guys it takes a while. And for Greg Brown and Dylan Mitchell, both of those guys have similar games. Like Greg Brown, he's still trying to find his way in the league. He's been in and out of the G League with the Portland Trail Blazers. He only gets minutes at the end of the game majority of the time. And it looks like Dylan Mitchell is going that path. And his stock in the draft board, it's going further and further. And even Kai Jones, remember Kai Jones, a couple of years ago too. It's kind of the same thing with him. As a sophomore, he's still trying to find his way in the league. Jericho Sims, he's doing the best, but he was the oldest out of all those guys. So it's just, these guys are still learning. For Dylan Mitchell, it is a little disappointing. I want to see more. He's so athletic. He has so much, talent there. And you see it. Like, he had a nasty fadeaway, one of the first plays in the game against West Virginia. Nice little move. And I was like, okay, but then that was it. And he does kind of become invisible at times. So, again, you need those freshmen to come along. You just do. Arterio Morris had that nasty dunk against Texas Tech. That's cool and all. He had a really good game against West Virginia, but you need a little bit of everybody. And, again, that Monday night game, it was disappointing because this team, I'm looking at a number 1 seed, and they got set back losing in Lubbock to Texas Tech.
So we'll keep talking some hoops. Again, the wins last night in the Big 12, that national game in the SEC tonight that Zay mentioned, we'll reset that one for you. Might be one to peek in on if you are
by the way,
Texas fan.
Thank you, Specs Text Line. Greg Brown did get released by Portland.
Oh, is that right?
Out the league.
Okay.
Out the league.
Specs text line 337-3776. This says YouTube subscribers, Chad. All right, if I didn't say subscribers, I apologize. Someone says if you're going to say it right. YouTube Nation, let's ride. Okay. And this texter says, turns out I do have a YouTube account. 693rd follower. We do appreciate it. The number's up to 695 on our YouTube page. If you want to check it out there, our Super Bowl discussion, our Rihanna discussion, all the shows there for you. We're making shorter videos for you to go check out. Little rants and raves that we have. They even had me jump on and talk XFL today, which I'm also going to do in the crap bag coming up. So YouTube.com/@TheHornAustin if you want to help us out. out and be a subscriber. We do appreciate it. All right, we got some NFL to get to as well. Got an NFL mock draft. Zay's already said if the Cowboys get Bijan, he's on the fan bandwagon. But what happens if Bijan is gone by the Cowboys pick? We'll get into a mock draft that deals with that, plus what Juju Smith-Schuster tweeted out that got folks talking and reacting and tweeting and stuff like that. Juju went all petty. We'll tell you about it on the Horn. Getting started on a Wednesday, day after Valentine's Day. Hope you had a great Valentine's Day. Hope it went exactly like you wanted it to go. Chad and Zay with you. Zay, I like the song, but I do not recognize it.
The Rascals.
Oh, okay.
Hold on.
Going back a ways on this one.
Yeah, 70s.
Yeah. The Rascals. That's good. What's it called?
Hold on.
Hold On by the Rascals. All right. The Rascals get us started today. Chad and Zay with you on this Wednesday. Real quick, we have a new trivia question that relates to sports. So you may already know this. When it comes to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, the answer to the question, who's done more Make-A-Wish, who's granted more wishes than anybody else? Zay, you know that answer? Because it's not even close. This one guy is way out ahead of everybody. I think he's granted over 500 wishes. Maybe it's 600 wishes, something like that. And he just keeps going.
No.
John Cena.
What?
Yes. It's not even close. When you talk about athletes
You
or
can't
entertainers.
see me,
or
John
whatever,
Cena?
that guy, because of his run in WWE, so many kids that were in hospitals, going through cancer treatments, going through whatever they were going through, they looked up to him. And they wanted to see him, and he made it a point to go out there and do that. So he has granted more wishes than anybody. But now we have a legendary athlete to answer the question, who has made the largest ever individual donation to the Make-A-Wish Foundation? It was founded in 1980. The number is $10 million, and it's Michael Jordan.
Wow.
Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead, sir.
That's a GOAT move, Mike.
My Lord. He's about to be 60. His birthday comes up on the 17th. So in honor of that, Michael decided to make this donation, and it's making the rounds today, the announcement there. So there you go. There's your new trivia answer. Michael Jordan, biggest individual donation to Make-A-Wish ever.
Man, Mike must have been hot on that craps table in this last few months.
Yeah, right. He must have got the Chiefs, Chris Stapleton, and Rihanna right for the Super Bowl, right?
All of it. You know, Mike, he likes to play his blackjack, so Mike had a good 2022.
He parlayed it all, and he took Rihanna pregnant.
Yeah.
And got it all.
That's the only way that Mike's giving up that much money, because you know how much he gambles, so he must have won.
It's true. Yeah.
So very impressive.
That's fair. That is absolutely fair. I want to remind you also tonight when we are done, you get Ball Don't Lie with Rod and Harge, of course. Big Wednesday lineup. Wednesday night flex at 7. And in our flex segment today, we'll talk to Zach Lucero and see what they've got lined up for the show tonight. The Longhorn Blitz podcast at 8 o'clock for you Longhorn football freaks. Fight Night is at 9 tonight. They're going to interview Chito Vera. Chito's part of the San Antonio card coming in March. He's going to fight Corey Sandhagen, and they are going to talk to Chito Vera this week. That's coming up at 9 tonight. And then 10 o'clock, it's Sports Guys Talking Wrestling as we head towards Elimination Chamber in WWE, and AEW's going on and all the other stuff in pro wrestling.
So, Chad, probably one of the most wholesome things that I've seen in a long time, because we know Super Bowl 57, a lot of people called it the Kelce Bowl, with Jason Kelce for the Eagles, the center, and Travis Kelce, future Hall of Fame tight end for the Chiefs. And on their podcast that they've been doing together all year, they just dropped an episode this week. And Jason Kelce, when he starts to talk about their mom and how this week, like this last 2 weeks have been for her, and they've never seen her so happy and proud. And both of those guys started breaking down like on the podcast. Like, talk about choking you up.
I haven't seen that yet. That's fantastic, though.
It was amazing. And Jason Kelce, you know, when you lose in the Super Bowl, you know, as long as he's been in the league, you don't get too many chances to get back.
Sure.
You just don't. So to be as proud as he was, that, you know, if you've seen the mic'd up clips of him hugging his brother after the game, as happy as he was for him, and, you know, still being able to see his mom and hug her and stuff. Because a lot of guys just take off and go straight to the locker room. But he knew this was bigger than just him losing. He knew how much this meant for his brother and his family. And yeah, just it was a lovely thing to see both of those guys. Again, it just goes back to like, oh, we're in the NFL. We're supposed to be so tough. We're supposed to be so hard. You know, you're supposed to be just a warrior, Braveheart style. And to see guys like that actually show emotion and think about their mom in that way, and think like, just think that, oh, we're so proud that she got to be proud of us.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just, it was nice to see.
Mamas and sons is a special relationship, and it's fun to watch it. You're right, at that level. I've seen the on-the-field stuff. I need to watch the podcast. What stood out to me, and is Jason older or Travis?
Jason's older.
Jason's the older brother. So this would make sense from what I heard then. He's on the field. He's already seen Travis. He sees his mom and, gives a big hug, and his mom was so great. And she said something like, it's been so much fun watching y'all. Have a great time. And he probably said the same thing to her. But then they get done hugging, and she kind of starts to look around, and he says, go celebrate with Trav.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, for the brother to think of that. And that's an older brother right there. That's an older brother looking out for the younger sibling. We've seen that in other sports. I remember the Williams sisters is the one I always go to because I'm a tennis guy. Venus would always take care of Serena in a way Serena never took care of Venus. Because us little siblings, younger siblings, that's not what we do.
Yeah.
We're not wired that way.
Yeah.
They are, because they had to take care of us when we were little. So Jason Kelce just magically went into that thing of, I'm going to take care of my little brother. Hey, Mom, I've seen you now. You've done your motherly duty to console me. Now go celebrate with my brother who just won the Super Bowl. That is a grown man thought right there.
Yeah.
That I probably wouldn't have had if I was Jason Kelce.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It was a great moment, and I know that family, they'll cherish it. And Jason Kelce and Travis Kelce, and I know he's a crazy guy when he gets on the podium and says jabroni and all that stuff. He has a lot of fire in him, but they're a pretty legendary football family, and it was really cool.
Yeah, that is awesome. That is good to see. All right, that'll lead us into this other Super Bowl story or post-Super Bowl story that's not exactly that wholesome. It's not exactly that. I had seen a little headline about Juju Smith-Schuster, and I'll be honest, Zay, until you mentioned it to me, I didn't know what it was. I didn't understand why people were talking about Juju after the game, other than I knew he was involved in that key play, right? He's the guy that got held on the play by Bradbury, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So that leads us to his tweet, which you sent me today, yesterday. Juju, to celebrate Valentine's Day, tweets out, "Happy Valentine's Day, everybody." Heart emoji, and it is an old school, made to look like a Valentine's card, like we had in school with a to and a from on it. It's got a picture of Bradbury, and it says, "I'll hold you when it matters most." Oh, and I'm sorry. It's petty as hell. It's not something I would do, but it is funny.
It's funny as hell.
It is funny. But the reaction, Zay, was interesting from the Eagles side of it. So let's go into the reaction here. And do you think this is a measured reaction from the Eagles, or should they just have let Juju have his fun?
I mean, I know that Juju Smith-Schuster won't be winning any Walter Payton Awards anytime soon. I know that.
No.
So
and that's not what he was going for.
He definitely wasn't going for it. I think it's out of line. I love it, that's for sure. But I think the Eagles, they had every right to back their guy up. A.J. Brown, he went off to retweet it with a quote saying, "First off, congratulations, y'all deserve it. This is lame. You was on the way out the league before Mahomes resurrected your career on your 1-year deal, TikTok boy."
Whoa.
He admitted that he grabbed you, but don't act like you're like this, or don't act like you're like that, or ever was. But congrats again.
See, that to me is where AJ went a little far. I don't think Juju was saying he's at any certain level. He was just making fun of the moment, right?
Yeah, but Juju had like 3 touchdowns this year. Patrick Mahomes, arguably one of the top 5 greatest quarterbacks of all time. Like, let's relax. You got Travis Kelce on your team. He might be one of the greatest tight ends of all time. You look at Tony Gonzalez and Grox and Shannon Sharp. Travis Kelce's right there. So let's chill, Juju.
Okay.
Like, I get you're trying to be funny and stuff, but too soon.
Yeah, too soon.
Way too soon.
And then Gardner Johnson tweets out, "Juju ran from me when I checked him in the game. Yawn, yawn, yawn emoji. Then 10 got his smoke." What does that mean, 10 got his smoke?
I think Isaiah Pacheco.
Oh, I see.
10 got his smoke.
Yeah, okay. All right.
That's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah.
He had a good game.
That must be it. Okay. That must have been it. Oh, that is some serious pettiness. You know what? I'm just going to say it. That's not quite NBA pettiness, but it's getting there.
It's getting there.
It's sort of, what is it Rod Babers likes to say, the NBA-ification of other sports. When other sports start to act soap opera-like and start to get too dramatic and start to feel like the NBA, this is NFL trying to push towards a little NBA vibe.
Yeah. I mean, whatever you want to say, James Bradberry was second-team All-Pro this year. He had a hell of a year, and he had a couple of mistakes in that game where it mattered the most. It happens.
Yeah.
It happens. But for Juju to go out and do something this petty, like there's also a code in the NFL. You go back to the Pro Bowl week and all those guys, you could just see the camaraderie and, just the we're all brothers here type of enthusiasm that they showed up there in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And what Juju did is against the code. It's like, okay, we're all great here. Y'all were the winners of the AFC. We were the winners of the NFC. Y'all just won the game because y'all's quarterback was amazing and our quarterback had a bunk-ass fumble. If those things didn't happen, it probably would have been a different outcome. But, hey, he say, she say, Here we are now. Juju, he went the petty route.
Yeah, he did.
He went the petty route.
He did. Yeah, I would not have gone that route myself, and the Eagles definitely fired back at him for that one.
Oh, 10's Tyreek Hill.
Oh, 10 is Tyreek. Okay. Is that the reference? But he's not in the game. 10.
Yeah.
That would have been.
What does that mean?
Yeah, no, that reference I wouldn't have gotten because Pacheco is 10 now, isn't he?
Yeah.
But that wouldn't have been the 10. Let's see I had to double check on who's 10 for the Eagles. Is that who he's talking about?
I don't know who's 10 on the Eagles.
Because you're right. Gardner Johnson, I thought he was referencing a 10. or maybe they could be making a joke. Maybe are they joking on him by referencing Tyreek Hill and saying Tyreek Hill was
10.
Right, like you were the guy. He was the guy on your team, and it's not you. I don't know. I bet Juju, when he tweeted that out, didn't think it was going to cause that much stir. He was just going to make a joke.
Oh, he knew what he was doing.
And he really got a reaction there. So there you go. And do you blame the guy that sent it out there because it's a little petty? Or do you blame the guys that reacted that way? Because if I was Bradberry, I might tweet at my guys, yo, man, just do your rehab. It's okay.
He tweeted first team or like all pro or something like that. Second team all pro.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah, he tweeted that. So
and to be fair, then the guys are right. I mean, he admitted it after the game. That's another reason why Juju probably should have stayed away from it. If he had said, I didn't do it, that's one thing. He admitted he held, and he said, I was hoping they'd let me get away with it, but they didn't, and we move on. So that's probably why Juju needed to stay away.
Well, Bradberry was probably chirping that game.
Yeah.
He was probably chirping, and Juju was probably chirping back. And this goes back to the bro code thing, Chad. You already get enough flack and enough just harassment from the fans, especially Philly fans. Like, who knows what kind of emails and stuff that James Bradberry got from these Eagle fans and death threats and stuff like that. So if you're Juju, you should know. You should know as an athlete how bad it could be from your fan base completely turning on you, especially coming from Pittsburgh. That fan base will turn on you in a heartbeat. They did turn on you in a heartbeat. And we're like, man, Juju, you ain't what you were that rookie season where you came into the league out of USC as that big-time player. And what A.J. Brown said is a little bit true. He wasn't completely out the league, but if he didn't go to the Chiefs and play with Patrick Mahomes, who knows who would have took a chance on Juju with the money that he was asking for. So, yeah, I get those guys coming, Gardner Johnson and A.J. Brown coming to bat for James Bradberry because it's just, it's fun and petty and stuff, but still, like, you won your Super Bowl. Go enjoy the parade today, and, yeah, maybe we'll see you next year.
NFL always on our radar. We're only 71 days away from that NFL draft. Mock drafts are already out there, of course, and we'll take a look at that Todd McShay mock draft this week. It has Bijan going to Baltimore. So if that were to happen at 22, what do the Cowboys end up doing? McShay's got him taking an offensive lineman, which may sound boring to you if you're a Cowboys fan, but that may be something they really need to look at when they get to that 26th pick, I believe it is. We'll get into that as the show and the week goes on. Justin Wells of of Inside Texas coming up at 1:05. He's a Cowboys fan. We'll see what he's thinking about that positioning for the boys. Up next in the crap bag, I'll see if I can get Zay and maybe some of you interested in the XFL. We'll go team by team in the state of Texas. We'll start in Arlington today with Bob Stoops' group. I'll tell you when they're going to play and who's on the team, and we'll see if you care on the Horn. Whew. That's a voice right there. I don't think it's them, but I'm just going to say Stryper. I don't know.
No.
Don't know.
TNT.
Oh, TNT. I know of the band, but I cannot identify TNT. I could have told you that waking up today. Never saw TNT live. There's one song of theirs I know. It's not this one. I can't remember the name of the other song, though. What's this one called?
Take Me Down.
Take Me Down.
Fallen Angel.
Oh, of course. I mean,
1988.
Romantic as hell there, TNT. TNT and the Rascals getting us started today. Appreciate Zay for all the great music. He was giving you some Valentine's music ideas yesterday. Any Valentine's music going on at the house last night?
No.
Does she allow that, or does she want nothing Valentine's going on? Like you aren't even...
We're not...
Like if you tried to play a little Barry White, is she going to get mad? Or?
No,
okay.
No, not at all.
Okay.
We're not getting into the mood with music type of people.
Okay.
We've never been that type of couple.
Okay. That's not crucial.
No.
To the situation.
No. Plus, which we didn't catch the old Bachelor last night, but last night was Bachelor night. With Big 12, Big Monday.
Uh-huh.
She knew I couldn't watch it there. She was kind of upset. Last night was Bachelor
Does
night.
The Bachelor hit on Mondays?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you got to do the rewatch.
Yeah, got to do it on DVR.
Those last 3 weeks have been tough then because you've had Texas games you got to watch on
They
Mondays.
have been tough. They have been tough.
And she's good enough to wait for you.
What a woman.
To watch it later. Does she stay away from social media?
Yes.
That's what my wife does too.
She'll quick stroll, and sometimes you'll see somebody messing something up. She'll quick stroll real fast, and
It's a whole nother world, man. Now it's just like when new movies come out that I think might have a spoiler somebody would care about. I'll try to see them fast now because I don't want to mess with it. Right. I don't want to have to mess with seeing something on social media.
So your boy Jesse Palmer, he took over for Chris Harrison as the Bachelor host.
Oh, is that right? He's full time now?
He's full time.
Now, Chris Harrison, is he the one that got himself in a little trouble?
Yeah, he got canceled.
Oh, my God.
They got his ass.
That was so silly. Now, they did upgrade in terms of looks, though. Jesse Palmer's a good-looking dude.
Good-looking dude.
That's a good way to go if you're going to – and he'd do a solid job. I'm assuming he's doing well.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, him and Hannah Storm, they always do this every single year, the Bachelor Bowl, where they make the girls or guys, whatever it is, Bachelor or Bachelorette, have a football game, and they always bring Hannah Storm in to do color with Jesse Palmer. Great. That's just great TV.
Yeah, that's got to be good. Got to be good. All right, shout out to all those Bachelor watchers this year. And it is Bachelor, you said, right?
Yeah, it's
not
Bachelor
at this time. Going Bachelor, straight up. Going back to the OG. Just Bachelor.
That's right.
Not Bachelor on an island, Bachelor Paradise.
The dude Zach, kind of lame. Real hairy chest dude. That's different.
So you don't like this year's Bachelor?
No.
The season's Bachelor?
Nah, not the best. He stays in Austin. And the girl that I think is going to win, she's from Austin. Or she stays in Austin.
Okay.
Anyway,
all right. That's always good.
That is always good.
Local connection.
Right. And he knows it's convenient, so that gives her the lead.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Look at there. Look at there. We've almost wasted enough time where I'm not going to have to talk a lot about the XFL. That was well done, Zay. All right, let's get a little bit of a crap bag in here, and I'll just remind everybody when these games are happening.
Chad's crap bag.
Crap bag. If you need an easy way to remember it, just think of a bag of crap.
Gosh, I'm losing a lot of street cred right now.
Yeah, you really are.
It's okay.
Brought to you by AV Consultations, 255-8678 or avconsultations.com. Real men do watch The Bachelor.
That's right.
It is true.
Thank you.
It is true.
Thank you.
Also, as far as I'm concerned, real men do watch spring football, and I'm excited for the XFL. I want to see if they can survive this time. COVID got them in 2020. This is not associated with the WWE, other than, The Rock is part of it, and he used to be in WWE, but it's not owned by Vince McMahon anymore. They're trying to go straight football on this thing. So the Arlington team is the first one I'll talk about this week. They play Saturday at 2 o'clock on ABC. It's Las Vegas at Arlington. I wish they called them Dallas. What are you going to do? I wish they kept their old logo, but what are you going to do? But they did keep Bob Stoops. Stoops is still the head coach. And you'll see guys you recognize if you watched Oklahoma football, like Chuck Long and Jonathan Hayes as co-OCs. You'll also hear names like Jordan Smallwood. Remember that receiver at Oklahoma? He's on this team. For me and other Aggies out there, Keith Ford, the running back that was at A&M and Oklahoma, he's on this team. Otaro Alaka, the A&M defensive lineman, is on this team. Zay, remember a receiver at USC named Tyler Vaughns from a couple years ago?
Nope.
No? Oh, I like Tyler Vaughns. That's a talented receiver. I think Tyler maybe didn't get the shot in the NFL because he's a little undersized. And maybe he's not the fastest receiver ever, and he's a little shorter than you'd want him to be. But I remember him making some big plays at USC. We'll see what he does there. For people that remember Brennan Schooler?
Yeah.
That was at Texas. His brother Colin was at Tech. Colin is on this team.
Okay.
At linebacker. And then the guy I'm really rooting for is Davion Smith, the running back that went to Michigan. And, man, is he trying to make it. He's 28 years old, and he was with Garrett Gilbert and that Orlando team in the AAF. Then he went to XFL that got shut down in Tampa. He was the leading rusher at the time when they shut it down. Then, if you'll remember, he went to Pittsburgh with the Maulers in the USFL. Remember the dude that got kicked out of the league because he was supposedly rude to the food people? Y'all remember that story?
I thought he was eating pizza. Or he wasn't eating pizza. He was eating like shrimp or something, and everybody else was eating pizza.
They told him that the choice was this and not this, and he told them something like, I don't think that's going to work. I need a certain thing or whatever. The team took that like he was being rude to him, and they kicked him out, put it on their little reality show or whatever, and Davion was gone. And I do hope that he can make it with this Dallas area team, the Arlington team, because he's been good. He's been good at the spring level. He's been like one of the better running backs, but he's run into just weird situations. So he is on this Arlington team as well. Now, the weird news, Zay, is all I can find at quarterback is Kevin Anderson from Fordham, something called Drew Plitt from Ball State, and Kyle Slaughter from Northern Colorado.
Oh, my goodness.
That's all I can find. The biggest problem with spring football, other than the original USFL, which had badasses all the way through it for different reasons. That's all the way back in the 80s. But once we got to XFL in 01 and forward, the biggest issue is quality at quarterback. There's nothing else that stands out like it. You can talk about lines of scrimmage if you want to get into the weeds a little bit, but it's about the ability to throw a professional pass when it's required, and only a couple have done it. The Garrett Gilbert year in Orlando stands out to me a little bit. Some guys have those, but we're talking about 8 teams here. They probably don't have 8 guys that can make all those throws all the time. So we're just going to see. I'll tell you some names as we go along that you might recognize, but I can't find one on this Arlington team. I don't know any of those 3 guys.
Yeah, I'm struggling with these names too. What's your boy Johnny Football doing right now?
Man, the last time I heard about Johnny, it was like
with T.O. in that little weird league.
That fan-controlled league or whatever. I would love to see Johnny take a legitimate shot and try to do the work in a league like this. He was in AAF for a little bit with Memphis, showed us a little bit in Canada before that. I guess it was prior to that time. I'd love to see him do it because, in theory, Johnny's skills, whatever they are right now, should be good enough.
That's what I'm saying.
It should be.
You talking about putting in the work. Yeah, right.
But that's the thing with Johnny, right? That's the thing.
But that's the point of this league. He should be able to just play off skill and talent, not film, not go back and practice and workouts and stuff. Just live the life Johnny Football lives and go out there and produce in the XFL.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that we haven't seen him more in the spring leagues, but I guess that's not what he is looking for right now. So Vegas and Arlington, Saturday at 2 on ABC. So these are big networks. You're not going to have to hunt for them. Saturday at 7:30, the Houston team plays on ESPN. Tell you more about the Houston team tomorrow. And Sunday at 2, San Antonio, the Brahmas, will play on ABC. But that Arlington team has Bob Stoops as the coach once again.
They really told old boy Davion, yo, F yo allergy, F yo gluten allergy. You going to eat this stuff or you're gone.
Yeah, that was such a weird story, man. Such a weird story. I didn't understand that. And I don't understand how a guy like that doesn't get a little bit of deference, a little bit of respect. There are no superstars in their world. I get it. But this guy played some spring football before. He'd been a league-leading rusher before. You can't cut him any slack?
Hell no. Know your role. What the Rock say back in the Attitude Era? Know your role, Davion. Understand where you're at.
Yeah. I don't know. And we won't have, I don't think they ever had a recording of him saying it the way he said it, and maybe he did put a lot of attitude in it, but to me,
You better bring your own lunch.
to me, you find the guy and you move on. You're the Pittsburgh Maulers. For God's sakes. You got a guy that played at Michigan and was the leading rusher in the XFL. You might want to take a breath before you kick him to the curb.
He asking for too much.
Ugh.
He asking for too much.
And I haven't double-checked those records lately, but I don't think Pittsburgh had a great season. I could be wrong, USFL fans. Please correct me if I'm wrong. All right, there's your crap bag. Up next, Justin Wells of Inside Texas. We'll talk Longhorns with him. Basketball team obviously not looking good in Lubbock, getting ready for OU this weekend, who is looking good after last night. We'll also get Justin's thoughts on that Cowboys draft pick. What does he want the Cowboys to do at 26 if Bijan's there, and maybe if Bijan's not there? We'll get his thoughts next on The Horn. Ah, yes, indeed. Hour number 2 on a Wednesday. Hope you had a great Valentine's Day. We head off into the off season for football season, but you know it never dies for us around here. 59 days till the spring game for Texas. NFL draft hits in 71 days, and now we've crept under 200 days till the first Longhorn game. See, it's going to be here before you know it. 199 days till Texas cranks up their final season in the Big 12 for football. Let's get into some Longhorn stuff and some NFL stuff on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline. It is our weekly visit with Justin Wells of Inside Texas on 3.com. By the way, I'm Chad Hastings. Isaiah Collier is here as well. Justin Wells at Justin Wells 2424 on Twitter. Justin, how are you, man?
Hey now, what's going on, gentlemen?
Not a whole lot. Valentine's Day good for you and yours?
Hey, man, that's just another day.
That's
now,
what I'm talking about.
My son had a blast.
Okay.
He had a blast. He got a bunch of Valentines at school. He got to give out some presents. He had a blast. For me, Valentine's is just another day that I get to save my money.
There you go. There you go. Nothing wrong with that at all. All right, before we get into some Longhorn basketball talk, I wanted to get a couple of draft thoughts from you. You're a Cowboys fan like me, and I know you follow the football talent moving from one step to another. So let me start with your thoughts on what the Texans might be looking at here at the top of the draft. If you're choosing between Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud, from what you've seen, what would you do?
Bryce Young. Don't overthink this. They're going to look at C.J. Stroud, and they're going to see the big arm, big prototypical guy, athlete, can do a lot of stuff, can get vertical. Don't overthink this, okay? Bryce Young is going to play in the NFL for a long time. There is no reason to pass up this opportunity. I don't care if he's a little small. The NFL has proven you don't have to be gigantic to be able to succeed. Bryce Young is that guy. They need a guy to lead this franchise, and that's the guy. They got to have a quarterback. It's a no-brainer pick there. They have to go quarterback. I go Bryce Young over C.J. Stroud. Don't overthink this, Houston.
Okay. Zay, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would. Yeah,
I think I would too. Yeah, that I mean, they're both could be really interesting in the NFL. I would lean maybe it's because I watch a little more SEC than I do Big Ten, but I would definitely go with Young. Yeah,
C.J. Stroud did show us something in that game against Georgia. He showed us a lot, though.
He did look good in that game against Georgia. That's fair. That's fair. What were you going to say, Justin?
I was going to say, Bryce, CJ's a great quarterback. Don't get it twisted. He's going to probably go forward to Indianapolis and be just fine. And get to hang out with Sam Ehlinger. But look, Bryce Young is the guy. He's the total package. There's so many things about Bryce Young, not just on the field, but off the field. This is a kid that, we get the pleasure of covering and recruiting when he was out in California. And listen, man, his family is great. Bryce Young is a no-brainer. I wouldn't overthink it, Houston.
Jay Wells, last week it was announced the 5 Texas Longhorns that will be at the Combine in Indianapolis: Keontre Coburn, Demarion Overshown, Moro Ojimo, Rojo, and Bijan Robinson. What are you looking for out of those 5 guys, or which player out of those 5 guys are you looking to really improve their stock at the Combine?
I think Demarion Overshown has the most to prove. I think he has, outside of Bijan, the most NFL upside, but he doesn't have a position. I know he's played some linebacker. I know he's played some safety. I know he's played a little bit in between at Texas, but he's got to show that he can be healthy, and he's got to show that he can find a position in the NFL. Now, and he's really the main question mark for me. Now, Overshown's going to bring an Isaiah Simmons type athleticism to the league, and I think he's going to test really well too. That's something that I think goes unnoticed. But, DeMarvion is such a good kid, such a good soul. And I think once he gets into the interviews and once franchises start to break him down, they're going to see a great future player. He just has to find the right position. Granted, it's probably going to be outside linebacker at the next level, and that's probably where he fits best. But don't forget, this kid could play some safety back in the day. And right now, I'm telling you, I think the best bet would be Overshown kind of proving some guys wrong with his health and with all the things that go with that.
Him at the combine should be really interesting. Watching the different, going through different drills with Overshown, that should be a lot of fun. We're talking with Justin Wells. Justin, speaking of combines, which leads to drafts, I should let you know on the record, Isaiah has let everybody know if the Cowboys get Bijan, he's officially a Cowboys fan. So that's what you and I need to hope for. He's willing to join the bandwagon. For you as a Cowboys fan, at 26, if Bijan's on the board, should they take him? And then if he's not, what do you want him to do?
How can y'all put me on the spot like this? Knowing I cover Texas, knowing I love the Dallas Cowboys, anything I say negative is going to be taken out of context. But seriously, no, Dallas does not need to draft Bijan Robinson. Dallas is very close in the NFC. We saw what the Eagles did in the Super Bowl. Dallas is right behind them. I think adding a Bijan Robinson doesn't fix that. They've got Zeke Elliott. They've got a Tony Pollard that's hopefully going to try to re-sign. I don't think that's the move to make. I honestly think you've got to go corner. Last year, by the end of the season, Dallas had started the last 7 games, 7 different corners. You can't have that. We had so many injuries to that back end. They have got to fix that secondary. I'd love to see him go corner. And, yeah, Bijan in Dallas would be a blast. Seeing him with the star in his helmet, absolutely. If they were to make a draft day trade and trade up, and send, say, Zeke Elliott to the Panthers for their pick, and they pick Bijan, I'm okay with that. That's a great scenario. I just don't see that happening. I think Bijan's going to go in the mid-first round. He's not going to be there at 26 anyway. I was wearing the star. I mean, there's not a whole lot of things that would make me happier, but that doesn't make the Dallas Cowboys any closer to getting to the Super Bowl, and that doesn't put them any closer to beating Philadelphia. What does is adding another wide receiver, adding a pair of corners, and maybe getting another inside linebacker while we're at it.
Yeah, okay. Interesting.
Jay Wells, last week, Quinn Ewers got a fresh cut. And, you talk about it all the time. Quinn Ewers stepping up to be a leader. Well, even though that might be minor for some, that's major for me on the growth of him. And, just the mullet meant a lot of party. Now the fresh fade for me, that means all about business. And that's a huge step in becoming a leader. Do you think this is just the next step for Quinn Ewers and just, already having, the locker rooms back, but just another step on his growth?
It's funny. My grandfather used to tell me you could tell a man by his haircut. And for Quinn Ewers, it seems almost silly. But truthfully, I think this is him trying to be more professional. It used to be business in the front, party in the back. Now it's business on both sides. And I think that's what Texas fans want to see. Quinn Ewers has a big year ahead of him. If he has the year that he's capable of having, he's going to go in the first or second round of next year's draft. He's got that 12 months right ahead of him. And by getting rid of the mullet, I personally love the mullet. I think he should have kept it. I think there was a sales point there. There could have been mullet wigs going out everywhere, for his first home game. But listen, Quinn's growing. Quinn's maturing. And I know if you think, well, if it takes a haircut to do that, listen, guys, he's doing a lot of things behind the scenes to become more of a leader. All you see is the haircut, on social media. There's more that he's going into. And I think that's the best thing Texas fans can take from it. Yeah, the mullet may be gone, but now it's business in the front and the back. And if I'm a Texas fan, that's exactly what I want my starting quarterback to be like.
Certainly needs to be a lot of business in 2023 for Quinn and the Longhorns. We'll see what it looks like. Talking with Justin Wells, Inside Texas on 3.com. Justin, let's get some Texas basketball thoughts from you. 2 real wake-up calls for this team. The wake-up call they got in Lubbock was one thing, and if they were paying attention last night, Oklahoma showed them that on any given night, they are extremely dangerous too. What do you make of where this team is now, headed into that game on Saturday?
Actually, I think the team is status quo. I don't think it's any different. I think what we're seeing is the gauntlet of the Big 12. You're not going to go through this conference unscathed. It's not going to happen. Plus, when you go out to Lubbock, nothing makes Texas Tech's year more than beating Texas one night.
Yep.
I mean, I'm telling you, they're still celebrating today. They're scheduling a parade for tomorrow. That's how big a deal it is to Texas Tech. And listen, if you watch that game, Texas Tech played completely over their head. And they do that. That's what happens when you play Texas. That's what happens when you play a rival. But give the Red Raiders credit. They played really, really well. I think Texas took it on the chin and buckled up and get ready for the next one. Oklahoma's always going to be a tough matchup, obviously, because of the rivalry, but also because Porter Moser, that's a defensive team. That's a defensive-minded man. They're going to play hard, really, really hard. And so that's life in the Big 12, guys. This is just something that we've kept talking about for the last few months. Just get through this conference schedule. Just get through it as healthy as possible to set yourself up really well in the tournament, the Big 12 tournament, and then you could look at a 1, 2, possibly 3 seed in the NCAA tournament. That's still on the table. Nothing has changed there. The only thing that's changed is we know the Big 12 is absolute hell to go through twice a week. And when you go to Lubbock, you have to prepare for the Red Raiders to play over their heads because that's exactly what they did to get the win.
Jay Wells, Rodney Terry right now, he's doing all the right things, and he just got that pay raise, which is well-deserved. And last night he was down there in Duncanville celebrating Ron Holland, senior night. So he's checking those boxes on making sure those big-time commits are still locked in and coming to Texas. How are you feel about Rodney Terry and the good job that he's done thus far?
Man, I think it's awesome. Such a tough situation in a circumstance to put a head coach in, especially at this level. And Rodney Terry has taken it, and he's done everything that's been asked of him. Get the team galvanized, did that. Get the offense clicking better, did that. Get the depth on the bench a little bit deeper, did that. Rodney Terry's done everything that's asked of him. And don't be surprised. Rodney Terry's a great coach. This guy was a head coach. He came back to Texas because he loved the school as an assistant. That was substantial. And the fact that Ron Holland has signed and is a big fan of Rodney Terry, I think really helps, especially in keeping that guy in the fold. Ron Holland has had one of the most spectacular high school careers in Texas basketball history. He has done so many things, and I think he's actually going to be playing for Team USA, the under-18 team, in the next summer. And so this is a guy that's got gold medals. He's got state championships, and he's got one thing he really likes about Texas. That's Rodney Terry. And the fact that Terry's been able to keep this boat afloat and keep them ahead in some instances, I think it's huge. Anytime you're coming off of losing your head coach in the circumstance that you did, guys, that's asking a lot. I mean, you're asking a lot because these players came to play for Chris Beard ultimately. But they've all got great relationships with Coach Terry. Coach Terry built those in the recruiting of guys like a Trey Johnson, guys of like a Ronald Holland. Those are guys that he's built relationships with, and ultimately that's what matters when it comes to recruiting. Terry's done a fantastic job. If it wasn't for what Jerome Tang has done in Manhattan for Kansas State, I would probably give my vote to Terry for Big 12 Coach of the Year right now.
Man, Jay Wells, the way Kansas State's looking, might be a real chance for Coach Terry to win that. But let me ask you this. You made a great point on Ron Holland, on how decorated he is as a high school basketball player in Texas. Who had a better high school basketball career, especially if Duncanville wins another state championship this year, Kyler Murray or Ron Holland?
I don't think Duncanville can win. I think they're ineligible. I think their season actually ended last night. If I may be wrong, but I believe that's the case.
I forgot the Coach Peavy thing.
Right. But that's still a legit question. Kyler Murray. I mean, you got to give it to Kyler Murray. I don't think he lost in high school. I think he went undefeated for 3 years.
Yeah,
I know he did for 2 years.
I think you're right.
He pushed this. He pushed the standard so far out of whack. There's no one that's going to be able to measure up to that at the highest level in high school football in 6A for Allen. I'm the last person to give Kyler Murray any sort of credit because he's absolute poison. But from a high school standpoint, he did a little bit more than Ron Holland did. Granted, different sport, different circumstance, but yeah, I'd probably lean towards Kyler. even though I'm a bigger Ron Holland fan.
All right. Just something to ponder, Justin, after we were talking about Texas basketball and watching the reaction in Lubbock the other night. Serious question here. Do you think Texas Tech fans might enjoy beating Texas even more than Aggies and Sooners do?
Yes. Yes, because Aggies and Sooners have always been the team that wanted to beat Texas. And Tech was just another team. Tech was just, well, that's that school in Lubbock where the town smells like cow crap. That's all Tech's ever been.
Right.
Now that Tech's had some success, I think that's where you're seeing kind of that that they're insinuating that they're in that conversation now. Listen, Texas and Texas Tech have had some really good battles. It reminds me kind of Baylor basketball 10 years ago. Baylor was also kind of the other team in one of the worst towns in the state of Texas. And then, Scott Drew came through. They've really revamped the program. They won a national title. They've played really well. And so they've kind of pushed themselves into that conversation. Absolutely. Texas Tech looks at beating Texas the same way Oklahoma and Texas A&M do. They've been raised that way their entire life. They don't have any other way of thinking. It's that kind of level of thinking. And that's why I think you have such animosity when you go over to that school and you take their head coach like it's nothing.
Right.
I think that builds up some of the animosity and some of the hate that goes into it. But Texas Tech has been on the sideline for 50, 60 years. And all of a sudden they've won a few games. They've had some success in football. Joey McGuire's doing a good job. Tim Tadlock's done a tremendous job with the baseball program. That's another bump there. And now Mark Adams, they're not having a great year, but they're still a good team with some good talent. Texas Tech is a formidable opponent. They just have never viewed themselves that way before.
Right.
They've always looked at it as, well, A&M and Oklahoma are Texas rivals. Well, why can't they be? And they're trying to assert themselves. Give them credit. You have to at least tip the cap. But absolutely, they love beating Texas. They love beating Texas more than they love themselves.
that may be true as well. Maybe that's how I should have asked it. That's Justin Wells, Inside Texas on 3.com, at Justin Wells 2424 on Twitter. Justin, always good to talk to you, brother. Have a great week. We'll hit you next week.
Hey, nothing but love, guys.
Thanks, Jay Wells.
Good stuff there as we get closer to that Texas and Oklahoma game on Saturday. Longhorn basketball trying to bounce back from that night in Lubbock. Up next, we'll get you a flex segment. High school basketball headed towards the playoffs tonight. Wednesday night flex returns to its normal time, Wednesdays at 7. Zach Lucero coming up next to let you know who's going to be on the show, and we'll talk some high school stuff with him. Stay with us. It's The Horn. All right, let's talk a little sinus and snoring specialist. What we're talking about here is resting better and breathing well and sleeping like you're supposed to be sleeping. That's what it's all about with sinus and snoring specialists. They want to know if you are snoring, and then they're going to try to figure out why you're snoring. There's a lot of different reasons why that could be happening, and then they can help you out. Dr. Slaughter has over 20 years of experience in ear, nose, and throat technology. He's double board certified, so that means he's got surgical and non-surgical options to deal with things like moderate obstructed sleep apnea. That's one of the things I had going on. I had an allergy issue like a lot of people have around this area. If you've developed those allergies and it hits you a couple times a year at least, I was there. But in 2017, I went in. They were able to assess what was going on with me. My nasal passages were all blocked up. They went about, clearing that up, but also getting rid of my allergies for good. So now I sleep so much better than I did. They've got a sleep test they can send you home with. You sleep in your bed, sleep in whatever position you want, and then they use that information to figure out what they need to do. You can live in the Austin area without allergies. My initial exam took less than an hour. They work with most insurance, and remember, the allergy test is done without needles, so you don't need to freak out there. Call and set up an appointment today, 512-601-0303, or go to sinussnoringent.com. It's Sinus and Snoring Specialists. Feel clear, rested, and healthy. Oh, come on now. All right, so you would have been too young when this song hit, but does this song matter to you at all? Like,
No.
Dig it at all?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So this is Faith No More.
That's right.
The song is called Epic.
That's right.
And it is easily their biggest hit. Now, they had some other good stuff I like. We Care a Lot and Fall into Pieces and other things. The thing I always remember about this band, this lead singer, his name is Mike Patton, and he's one of those guys that has a vocal range that not many have. And you wouldn't think of it because it's in this kind of metal band, and they also give you a little bit of that funky, like
little hip hop,
a little rappy, a little Red Hot Chili Peppery kind of thing. They could bring that funk. Mike Patton apparently has that 6-octave range if you needed it. He's one of those guys. And an incredible on-stage performer. They just never, like for a while, I mean, this thing was huge. They never quite fit in anywhere. They were just such a unique band. Shout out to Faith No More, but there was nobody like Faith No More really before them or after them. They were a specific kind of band, but Epic was just that. It was such a massive hit for them. Faith No More, TNT, and the Rascals have all been on the show today. Chad and Zay with you on this Wednesday. Thanks to Justin Wells for his time, and we are going to get into a flex discussion here. I want to remind you, Ball Don't Lie tonight, this afternoon, of course, with Rod and Harge. And then at 7 o'clock, it is Wednesday Night Flex, returning to its normal time, Wednesdays at 7. Let's get into the Flex segment here. We're going to talk to Zach Lucero and find out what's going on tonight's show.
Flex ATX for the best high school sports coverage. Listen to the Horn and go to FLXATX.com. Flex 30 is brought to you by Brain Vault. Brain Vault is a revolutionary and patented mouthguard that has been proven to help reduce the risk of concussion. Visit BrainVault.com and join the movement.
Before we get to Zach, some shout out to some Flex athletes here. Go to FLXATX on Twitter, social media. I see Andrew Petter, the young man from Georgetown. Georgetown. A Georgetown running back. One of the studs out there in the 24 class. We talked about Andrew throughout last season. He was a big part of what Georgetown was doing. He just got his first D1 offer from UTRGV, and I saw Flex retweeting that. Shout out to Andrew. Also, you see basketball teams, boys and girls, posting videos to Flex. I even saw a track and field group over there at, I think it was St. Michael's, that was getting their season started, getting some workouts started, throwing some slow motion long jump practice in that Flex was checking out today. So when we say Flex covers it all, Flex covers it all. Xander Romero out at St. Michael's with a nice long jump video if you want to check it out. At FLXATX on your social media. And again, Wednesday Night Flex tonight, covering all kinds of high school sports. Zach Lucero and Cameron Parker will bring it to you. Zach Lucero, nice enough to join us on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline. What's up, Zach?
What's up, guys? How y'all doing?
Man,
what up, Zach?
I'm doing well. I have a strange question for you to start, because I kind of got, I've been interested in that Vandegrift football team for a few years. I see Alex Foster got named second team All-State, which was very cool. But the question I was going to ask you is about Hayden Arnold. I see him posting videos that Flex and you guys have been retweeting him, and he's out there kicking and stuff, and he was named to a couple of All-State teams and everything at kicker. But I haven't heard anything about him at the next level, and he's class of 23. Anything on Hayden Arnold, and is he going to keep kicking, or is that part of it done for him? Do you know?
The fact that he's posting all those videos, I think just goes to show that he wants to. He just maybe hasn't quite gotten the opportunities or maybe the opportunities he's gotten aren't quite to the level that he knows that he can kick at. So, that's really all you can do as a high schooler getting recruited, is just posting those videos and trying to get your name out there, which is what we all try to do is try to retweet these things and get as many eyes on these kids whenever they're posting videos like that and trying to go for the exposure, which ultimately will result in a scholarship offer for them. But, Chad, that's a really good future guest suggestion there, that we can have Hayden Arnold on and talk about it. And, And, Vandergrift is still relatively new at getting guys recruited to the highest level, like we've seen this year with Ian Reed and Damian Wimberly and Blake Frazier coming up. We talked to Coach Sanders about that last week. So hopefully here pretty soon, Hayden Arnold is a guy that'll be able to benefit from that.
Yeah, very cool.
Zach, last night was kind of end of the season for boys high school basketball in the area. Out of all the teams that we cover, who has surprised you the most this year that you could see making a run into the playoffs?
I mean, I think that's the easy answer. I think if you would ask, if someone would ask you that, you'd probably say the same thing, and that's Buda Johnson. I mean, just the rise of that program and as a whole, as an athletic department. I mean, we see what they've done in football. Getting their offensive coordinator the job at Hutto. We've seen what they can do in baseball. But basketball, I think in a district that's always going to be kind of top down with Lake Travis and Westlake, for Buda Johnson have wins over both of those programs, some of them even in convincing fashion. I think the next step for a program like that is to get a couple wins in the playoffs to really kind of become a mainstay in the basketball scene there.
Yeah, you're right, Zach, because last year they were really good in 5A, and I didn't know how they were going to be when they had to move up, and the fact that they won district this year in basketball, their first year in 26-6A, I'm right there with you, Zach. They've been super impressive.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about baseball, you talk about volleyball. They made playoffs for the first time in 6A this year in volleyball, have a couple girls going big-time D1 in volleyball, so I think when you think of like really good athletic programs in the area, obviously you think of like Travis and Westlake, but I think Rouse comes to mind with that, maybe like a Vandergrift or a Dripping Springs. But I think here pretty soon we've seen Hayes have success, and you open a new school like that, and I think pretty soon we'll be talking about Buda Johnson as a school that's going to be competitive in every sport.
Zach, in terms of the show tonight, what are you guys going to be getting into, and any guests lined up already?
Yeah, the first guest we have around 7:10, we got Coach Salazar from Westlake. Going to try to continue with the trend of talking to coaches. Like I said, Coach Sanders last week. Going to talk to Coach Salazar, just kind of about speaking of really good athletic programs. Talk to Coach Salazar about taking over for Coach Dodge and what he saw from his squad his first year as head coach. Still working on that 7:30 slot, trying to get Brody Bueno, which will make the perfect Chad Hastings type of show, because at 7:45 we have your boy Garen Duncan from Dripping Springs, the recent Yale commit. So it'll be really cool to talk to Garen at 7:45. Garen
is a terrible student. You can hear it in his choice, right? I mean, Yale lets anybody in, don't they? I love Garen Duncan. He's the guy he and Novosad have been boys since they were in kindergarten.
Wow.
And you could see it on the field. That guy makes amazing catches. I like Garen Duncan a lot. That's awesome.
Yeah. We were trying to get Austin Novosad for that spot, but he's up in Eugene, and he said, "Hey, Bo Nix is taking the quarterback room out to dinner, so I'm gonna have to miss this one. So hopefully we can get him on in the future." But I'm like, man, that's a pretty cool name drop right there.
I was about to say, he's name dropping to let you know why he can't come on the show. That's impressive.
Yeah, I think one time he didn't come out to one of our remotes because he said the Baylor head coach was at his house. So
Dave Aranda was at the crib. I remember that. Yeah, we were out at Pluckers.
Oh, my God. That is great. Check out Wednesday Night Flex coming up tonight. Remember, most weeks from now all the way through to that first week of the football season, Wednesday Night Flex, talking all kinds of high school sports, getting you the guests from around the area, coaches and players. You hear Zach talk about it there. So Zach and Cameron tonight. And remember, at FLXATX on your socials, and you can check out flexatx.com for all the rest. Zach, we always appreciate the visit, brother. Y'all have a great show tonight.
Yes, sir. Y'all too. See ya.
Thanks, Zach.
I know I'm going to be checking out some Garen Duncan now. That's Mr. Horizontal Catches, who that is. Garen Duncan making horizontal catches with his hands every time I go to see Dripping Springs play. Like, what is this kid doing?
They were an absolute juggernaut this year.
They were so much fun to watch.
They were fun to watch.
Yeah, they were great. So Garen Duncan there, and said he's trying to set up Brody Bueno. I've had a chance to talk to that young man. We talked to him out at Pluckers. The parents came out when we were doing the All Flex team there. Brody Bueno would be, do I get this right? Hutto linebacker, right? Brody Bueno? I think I'm right. I think I'm right on that with Brody. He was on the linebacker All Flex team, and then of course Coach Salazar at Westlake. All that tonight, Wednesday Night flex. Also, as long as we're talking linebackers, I also saw this that Flex retweeted. Again, IV Webb, the Anderson linebacker and the state leader in tackles, tweeted out recently, excited to start my next chapter at SMU. If you haven't heard, he is going to be in Dallas with SMU. So congrats to IV Webb. I'm so glad, Zay, he ended up getting offers like that. With that many tackles, as good as he was, I was hoping he would get to go to a D1, and he does.
Yeah, you play in one of the best districts in all of Texas, and you lead that district in tackles. Like, this is guys, Colton Vosic's in this district. I mean, the list goes on. It's a really good list, and the fact that he was top in tackles, well-deserved. So him and Damian Wimberly going to be teammates, and they might be roommates, just trying to keep that little Austin connection together.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, a little Vandegrift-Anderson connection there with SMU. Yeah, and that's good to mention him, too. Damian Wimberly's going to be a lot of fun to watch at SMU. Yes, and I was right. How about that? Brody Bueno, Hutto. See that? The memory, some of it still works.
Not bad.
The part of it that was supposed to remember to bring your Girl Scout cookies, for some reason, that didn't work. My wife had to intervene, but you did get your cookies, and I did remember that Brody Bueno was the Hutto linebacker, and hopefully he'll be on the show with those guys tonight. All right, coming up at 2 o'clock, 2:05 or so, Chip Brown, horns247.com. Been communicating with Chip this afternoon. He's over at UT for a baseball availability, so get a little bit with Coach Pierce and the baseball guys as they're about to start their season. We'll get Chip's thoughts on that, the basketball team, and some other Longhorn stuff, maybe get a reaction on Super Bowl 57 as well. Up next, where are we at in society? Zay will let us know. Which NFL receiver tweeted out something rude? No, that was earlier with Juju. It may be something else. We'll see on the Horn. Discounted sugar now, day after Valentine's Day.
That's right.
Sugar on sale, baby. Is it called sugar or just one sugar?
Sugar.
Just sugar. You got the double sugar on that one. All right, so it's a band name, right? It's not like one person. Is that right? It's the Somethings?
Yeah, it's a band. The Somethings, yes.
Oh, God. It's, oh, man. The Hollies?
The Archies.
Damn it. The Archies. I was close. I was right in that area. The Archies. That'll take you back. That's the kind of song that takes you back to the time, even if you didn't live during the time. If you know musical periods, you can kind of figure out where that one goes. The Archies, Faith No More, TNT, and the Rascals have all been on the show today. Lots of basketball out there. Football never dies for us. We're talking some NFL mock drafts today. Also, Juju Smith-Schuster tweeting out things that the Eagles did not like. I would tell the Eagles just to hand off more to their running backs, and maybe they would have liked that day a little bit better. Or I keep going back to that Bradbury play. Well, I held, yeah. I just didn't know if we'd get away with it. I hoped we'd get away with it. Okay, wait a second. One play later after that, y'all were willing to let them score a touchdown. Let them score one. Just play him straight up, and if Mahomes hits it, he hits it. And then you get the ball back. Hurts will get a chance to go tie. Your badass quarterback already did it once. So let him do it again. Why? It's so weird that Bradbury in that moment, after Juju had complained earlier in the game, you pointed that one out the other day, Zay. Yeah. I think that's important. Juju'd already bitched about it.
Great move.
To get it in their brain.
Great move by Juju.
Play him straight up. Just play him straight up. If he beats you, he beats you. And then your offense gets a chance. But the way you did it, you commit the penalty, and then whoever it was it McKinnon that was smart enough to go down at the one?
Yes.
To slide? Then that happens and you never get the ball back. So that was the one thing I couldn't quite understand there. And then to go in and admit, yeah, I held him. Why? Why did you? You're a defender in the Super Bowl in a big moment. Make Patrick Mahomes throw that ball. That's all. That would have been my response.
Giants fans everywhere were like, that's the Bradbury we know. That's it. That's the Bradbury that we gave up on right there.
Oh, yeah, that guy. I know.
That's it.
I know that guy.
Because I know Giants fans have been salty all year long on how well Bradbury has done because they just gave him up. He was asking for a lot of money. They said, nah, we ain't willing to pay you, dog.
Just
and
like
he goes to your rival and has the season that he had.
Just like I'm sure they're not exactly thrilled with what Kadarius Toney's done.
Oh, yeah.
For the champs now.
Yeah.
Not a division rival, but did go get a Super Bowl.
Yeah, Kadarius Toney. Daniel Jones ain't going to make you look like that, bro.
No, he's not. No, he is not. Which kind of gets you back to that Juju tweet and the point the Eagles guys were trying to make. Like, Juju, come on, dude. 15 is making you look like a badass. There's no need to, there's no need to go after one of our guys on Twitter just because. No need to do it. Just enjoy your ring. All right. We've got Chip Brown coming up from horns247.com at 2, talking all kinds of things Longhorn. Basketball team getting ready for Oklahoma. Baseball team getting ready for 3 SEC opponents to start the season up in Arlington. And right now, though, it's where we at in society. Let's see what Zay wants to get into.
Where are we at in society today?
All right, Zay, you keyed me in on the Juju thing earlier. What are we doing right here?
Yeah, check your DMs, Chad. I sent you a video. Okay. Washington Wizards star Bradley Beal was fined $25,000.
Whoa.
For, in this video you will see, Chad, he's going after a steal. The ball goes out of bounds. The ref is in his way, and he kind of runs into the ref, but then after, this is what gets him fined. He gives the ref a nice little shove, and the ref goes flying in the stands. Just flying in the stands. Talk about, they penalize these guys for flopping. This ref really sold it. Like, he sold it. And I get it. He probably wasn't ready, and Bradley Beal, he's a strong dude. But, man, like the way he fell, wow.
Now, I'm a pro wrestling fan. I can appreciate a good sell, so I'm watching for that quality here. Because he does give a little bit of that, not an out-and-out shove, but the key moment there is he's pressing on the back of his hand, and I think the official in his mind was thinking, I'm gonna he's going to help. He's going to grab my hand here. So it almost made his weight going backwards even worse. But yeah, there's a sell there. I think he was a little surprised there. Bradley Beal probably needs to figure out a way to control that a little bit better. I don't know if I agree with the $25,000 fine.
It's a little steep.
Yeah, that's a little steep. Did he get teed up for it?
Yes, he got teed up.
Okay. To me, that needs to be the end of it. Tee him up.
That's what I'm talking about.
A little extra there. Go apologize to the official, but we got to tee you up for that.
Which, if you get a tech, the way that he got it there, that's already $2,000 that you're out of.
Is that right?
So after he got a tech and after he got hit for $2,000, the NBA came back and said, "Oh hell no, we ain't you for $25,000, bro."
That's too much. First off, I didn't realize they were fining per technical foul. Is that true?
I think it depends.
Depends on the player, maybe?
I think it depends on
your contract.
What exactly happens in the tech.
Yeah, I mean, it's not good. It's obviously not good. And the official's in a bad spot there, right? The official wishes he was not in that exact spot. That's on him a little bit, but that's an honest mistake.
But the official's out of bounds. The ball goes out of bounds. He's not in Bradley Beal's way, which that's why he got hit with the fine so high. Bradley didn't have to shove him after he already made contact.
Here's all the one thing I will say is I'm really glad that the person he pushed is not this little kid right behind him in row 2. Because if that little kid, the little floating head, if that little 3 or 4 year old had been shoved by Bradley Beal, then you need to find him a lot.
Would have been a little dark.
It would have been a little different. No, yeah, that is a little bit strong. This is where I keep going back to in the NBA. The NBA does not appreciate, sometimes baseball does this too. The NBA does not appreciate the value of a fellas. Let's just break it up, move on. They need to do more of that. They need to do more of all right, let's all calm down. And we just move forward. That's all you needed there. Tee him up. Dude, you push the official, say you're sorry, or maybe not say you're sorry, whatever. But then just, tee him up and go on.
I didn't watch this game, but depending on how the game was being officiated, could also due to why Bradley Beal got hit so hard. Because if my man, John Collins is his name, John Butler, I'm sorry, he's the one that got pushed as the ref. If he's calling a bad game, just blowing calls, missing calls, etc., and then he gets pushed by Bradley Beal, it looks a lot worse.
I'm trying to think of the person that I would allow Beal to shove. I don't mean a specific person, but is there anybody in an NBA game I can't think of anybody. If there was a bench player trying to stand up and block him from doing what he's doing or distract him, I'd let Beal give him a little shove. That's about all I can think of. But anybody else in that spot, out of bounds, like you pointed out, you're out of bounds. You are not trying to be in his way. He doesn't need to be doing that.
And it didn't help that Bradley didn't help him up either. As you can see, Bradley's turning around and walking away.
Yeah, and at that point, as Bradley Beal, he's facing him. He can't argue that he turned his head. Dude, that's an official. Do you know who they are, right? This is one of those, it's one of those easy lines to see. You don't need to be crossing it that way. And I'm not going to get super old fuddy-duddy on you and talk about, kids. Again, there's a little kid right there in row 2. But little kids and how they might see that interaction, you got to be communicating that respect. These are the officials of the game. You can't come in contact with them that way.
No, you can't. And to John Butler, the officials, to his point, this could have been Bradley Beal just having some pent up animosity and emotion towards all the refs that he's had to deal with, all the bad refs that he's had to deal with throughout his whole basketball career. We're talking about high school in St. Louis, college at Florida, now in the National Basketball Association, and he's just had it. He's just had it like, these damn refs, I'm so tired of you, John Collins,
Yeah.
John Butler,
He's just taking it out on
just
everybody.
taking it on everybody, and John Butler, it was him that day.
By the way, as someone who has been an official in basketball, and you are, of course, the greatest official in Central Texas basketball history.
Might be all of Texas, but we're still working on that.
Yeah, we're going to try to expand that out for you. Notice how little everybody else is reacting around that situation? Like, nobody seems to be going to his aid.
Yeah.
As this video is ending.
If I'm John Butler, I'm getting up swinging a little bit. Obviously, I know that my job's probably going to be in jeopardy, but you ain't going to push me in front of plus 15,000 people.
And maybe ultimately that is why it rose up to 25,000. That's the one thing the NBA knows they can do. Like, a technical foul is one thing, but if you're going to show that level of disrespect to our official, that's why we've got to crank it up a little bit. I'm with you. I don't know that I go all the way up to $25,000, but maybe that's the statement they thought they could make. It's a statement they thought Bradley Beal would hear more than $2,000.
Do you remember when those high school players took out the ref in San Antonio, John Jay?
Yeah.
They took out that ref.
That was horrible.
Terrible situation.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but if I'm that ref, I'm fighting somebody tonight. I might not be able to fight the youth or the minor that took me out, but that kid has a father. That kid has a cousin.
You'd find somebody.
Somebody is getting the Popeye special 2-piece and a biscuit. Somebody's gonna get got. Because I think it's a felony to take out a ref, especially when they're wearing their stripes. But oh man, I would tell my wife all the time, when that happened, I can't wait till one of these kids come try me. Now, as the best basketball official in all Texas history, I don't have those issues because I'm calling the great game no matter what.
Right,
like, how can you get mad at the dark-skinned brother, calling the great game? He's doing his job. But if I were ever in that situation, somebody getting got.
Zay's out there, forearm shivering, slant routes. Boom!
Oh, JBL clothesline? Somebody's getting that. When they're on the ground, Hulk Hogan leg
the leg drop.
Yeah. The whole 9.
The JBL lariat clothesline. You go with that one? Yeah, that was an all-timer. That's an all-timer. All right, there you go. We'll get that retweeted for you if you haven't seen it. Zay is at @ain'tthat_Zay. I'm at C Hastings 1049 on Twitter. Remember, the station is at The Horn ATX, and we get you where we at in society every day about 1:45. Up next, Chip Brown of horns247.com, Longhorn basketball, Longhorn baseball, and more. Stay with us. It's The Horn. All right, let's get hour number 3 cranked up on this Wednesday. Hope you had a good Valentine's Day. I'm Chad Hastings, Isaiah Collier alongside. Hour 3 starts with a beat chosen especially for me and all you guys by Zay. All right, Zay, what we got?
Young Star from Houston, Texas, knocking pictures off your wall. A Houston classic.
Young Star. It's a great beat.
Oh, I love this beat.
Very cool. Knocking pictures off your wall. Good title, too.
Yeah, and Young Star on the album cover, he's like wearing a baseball jersey with no shirt on underneath. And there's like a whole bunch of bad green screen, like arcade games in the background.
Like you can tell it's fake.
Oh, you can tell it's completely fake. But it's amazing.
Space Invaders and stuff behind him. So Young Star, that's an artist. That's an individual, right?
That's an individual
Young
artist.
Star out of Houston, you said?
Yes.
Okay. Have we ever had a documentary on the rap game out of Houston? Has anybody ever done it?
I think so. I think there's a North versus South documentary.
Because at one point, wasn't the Houston area rap scene referred to as Third Coast rap? Like there was the East Coast, the West Coast, and they were the Third Coast?
Something like that.
Like it was that big a deal at one point.
Yeah, still a big deal.
Somebody needs to give us a full story on that. I love a good music documentary. I would love to see that all played out and get some of the key players to talk about it, key producers and fans and the artists themselves to go through all that.
Yeah, so I would go check out Rap-A-Lot, see if they have any documentary types of things like Jay Prince and Rap-A-Lot. That's Houston royalty. Those are the guys who found Ghetto Boys and Scarface and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then probably some DJ Screw stuff. DJ Screw probably has some good documentaries and clips where you could get some good H-Town info. But yeah, the North versus South Houston, that used to be a serious / dangerous rivalry. I don't think it's the same, but if you're from the South, you shouldn't be up north and vice versa.
Wow.
If you're known, which that's why a lot of those killings and stuff happened back then.
That's so crazy. All right, Young Star beat to get us started this 2 o'clock hour, third hour of the show for us. And we're going to pivot a little bit on the guest, Chip Brown of horns247.com. He'll be joining us tomorrow. They've got a baseball availability going on right now. They're bringing players over there, so those guys are getting a chance to interact with those players throughout the next couple of days. There's a deal today. And then our man Jeff Howe of horns247.com, he'll be over there tomorrow as well, getting to talk to some players. So we're going to put Chip into Jeff's normal slot Thursdays at 1:05. So we'll talk to Chip tomorrow at 1:05, and it'll give us a chance to get into back into some of this football stuff that we're talking about today in terms of the NFL draft coming up and some other things. Quick reminder, 7 o'clock tonight, Wednesday Night Flex, and then the Longhorn Blitz podcast. Speaking of the horns247.com crew, Longhorn Blitz podcast at 8, Fight Night at 9, Sports Guys Talking Wrestling at 10 tonight.
You know, Chad, when we talked to Justin Wells and you asked us about will we take C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young, that's going to be tough for these NFL, GMs and owners and whatnot, these front office guys, because, Bryce Young checks all the boxes, especially being mature and playing for somebody like Nick Saban and having all the success he had. But look at all the small guys that have just been injured as of late, especially Kyler Murray. I know they're not the same type of player, but Russell Wilson, he's been a little injury prone these last few years and stuff. So
with Bryce, you just hope they're not going to run him as much, right? In the NFL, he will not be as much of a running quarterback, so maybe that helps durability.
Yeah, and he's so smart. And Tua's another one of those smaller guys that's just you just never know. And with the way the NFL protects these guys, you got to like that for Bryce Young and his future in the league. But still, that's always going to be that thing that's going to be over, question mark for all these GMs. Can we trust him for the longevity and stuff? And who do we put around him? But yeah, you're right. he's very smart on picking and choosing when it's time to run. And he's not one of those guys like Jalen Hurts that's going to lower his head or try to fight for extra yards.
Right.
He's going to be able to slide, and, he's going to be good and sliding that way. So, yeah, I'd still take Bryce Young, but, man, C.J. Stroud, he really showed us something in that Georgia game, especially with his legs. Like, I didn't think he was that mobile. He did a really good job of avoiding, the pressure that Kirby Smart's team like to put on guys in that semifinal game.
So overall, Todd McShay would agree with you that a team would also make that choice. Now, he went ahead and projected a trade at the beginning of this latest mock draft. So the Colts are sitting at 4, and he's got them trading up to number 1 to get the spot from the Bears. Colts obviously are in just a quarterback mess right now, trying to figure out what they've got going on. So he's got them going up to get Bryce Young. That would leave C.J. Stroud for the Texans at 2. So if you're a Texans fan, that's where this mock would have them going. Will Anderson 3 to Arizona. The Bears would still get Jalen Carter at 4 after trading with the Colts. Here's an interesting one, Zay. We'll start talking about guys between now and April are we surprised to see him this high? Texas Tech defensive end Tyree Wilson, 5 to the Seahawks. I know he's good. Is he that good?
Man, he's insanely athletic. It's going to be interesting to see all these guys in Indianapolis at the Combine. But, yeah, I mean, his measurements are good. I don't think he's that good, but he was a big part of Joey McGuire's defense this year.
He was.
On the Tech team that surprisingly went 8-5.
Man, good for you, Tyree Wilson, if you end up getting picked 5 there. All right, how about this? At 7, he's got the Raiders taking Will Levis. So third quarterback off the board for him would be Levis out of Kentucky. We've heard lots and lots of things about this guy. Kind of a, I guess, would we call him sort of a Josh Allen type of quarterback?
Yeah.
Big arm, big cannon arm that people just can't ignore. And the Raiders obviously are in trouble now. They've released Derek Carr, and we said it yesterday. Some dude I've never heard of is the only guy they have under contract. I'd literally have to look him up again to see what his name is. Showers, Bowers, Flowers, some hour sound in his name I'd never heard of.
Huh.
So they're going to have to make a quarterback move in this draft and probably in other spots too. Draft, free agency, maybe both. So the Raiders at 7, taking Will Levis, according to McShay. So you get and you gotta, because you can't waste Devontae Adams. You can't waste that situation.
No, you can't.
That's one of the biggest dogs in the.
And he'll get real angry real fast. He is not afraid to speak his mind. And when you play with guys like Aaron Rodgers for basically your whole career, you know what great is.
Yeah, right.
And he knows he doesn't have many years left. I know he's about to hit 30 if he hasn't hit 30 already. Him and Derek Carr are probably around the same age, right? Weren't they roommates back in the Fresno days?
Yeah.
So he's around that 31, 30 age too. He don't got many years left, and he ain't trying to waste them on Will Levis if Will Levis ain't ready.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be interesting to see if where does Levis ultimately go, and how do the Raiders deal with their situation. And then here's another name. I am so happy for him. I'm excited for him that he's up this high, but never would have thought it. 9 in this mock draft, Anthony Richardson of Florida.
I don't get it.
I mean, and look, for those of you, before you start looking up the box score, yes, he roasted the Aggies this year. Yes, he did. He did. Beating this particular Aggie team in 2022, to me, doesn't get you into the top 10 of the draft. So before you go there, I get it. I get he had good games. I get at times he was a pretty good college quarterback. But translating to the pros, Zay? Like, I'm trying to think of, like, what would I compare him to right now? Anthony Richardson, to me, is like...
He has a lot of Jameis in him.
Oh, good Lord, I hadn't even thought of that comparison. What I was going to say is, like, if you start out to make Lamar Jackson, but you take a break at some point to go do some other things, and you leave your work unfinished, you may end up with Anthony Richardson. That, to me, sometimes is what he is, like an unfinished Lamar. Jameis is an interesting comparison. I hadn't thought of it. I hadn't quite thought of him that way. Is he that big? Where? That's one thing I haven't looked up. I haven't looked up his measurables in a while.
Yeah, I think he's that big.
He's up there at that 6'4", 6'5" area and like 240. Because Jameis was big when he went to Florida State. Coming out, right?
Jameis that husky? No wonder he was stealing.
Wasn't he that big?
Crab legs and stuff at Publix. Yeah, Anthony Richardson 6'6" or 6'4". I mean,
it is 6'4". Okay, all right. To me, he's a little slimmer than Jameis was. I may be wrong on that. Jameis to me was a little more on that, Roethlisberger, Cam Newton frame, little bigger and could take a little bit more.
Anthony Richardson 6'4", 236.
236. Okay, yeah. So a little bit under that. I think Jameis was up in that 240, 250 area.
Damn.
If I'm not mistaken.
That's husky.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess it's the measurables that everybody's looking at. But I don't quite see it. Again, great for him, man. If that's where it ends up, good for him. I just do not know if I'm a fan of the Carolina Panthers, is that who I want to stake the claim on and say, this is our guy. This is our, franchise NFL badass quarterback. If you saw Florida play a lot, let us know. Let us know if I'm missing something. And I admit I didn't see every game he played at Florida, but when I saw him, he didn't strike me as that guy.
Yeah, I don't know if they're giving Levis and Anthony Richardson more credit because they played in the SEC and they did pretty good and they showed flashes of being a quality quarterback in the NFL, but we know that it's hit or miss for these guys. I mean, look at Malik Willis. How long do you think he's going to be able to last with the path that he went on going into Tennessee in the third round?
Yeah.
And people think how highly everybody was of him coming out of Liberty. I know it's Liberty, but still.
Right. Yeah.
At one point, people were thinking he was going to be a first-round pick, and he slowly got bounced to the third round, but he looked like a seventh-round pick, and that's kind of disrespectful of what Brock Purdy did this past season, being the last pick of the NFL draft.
Right.
So you just never know,
like
who's going to be that Brock Purdy this year and be able to step up and lead their team in that type of situation if that circumstance comes around. You just never know, which that's one of the hardest jobs being a GM of any sport.
And by the way, McShay does admit that this would be a reach up to number 9. He's got him as the 36th prospect, Anthony Richardson. So he's admitting this would be a big-time reach. Also in this mock, Brian Breesy, the big D tackle out of Clemson, going to the Eagles at 10. I don't think I would love that. Texans fans, you also have the 12th pick in the draft. How about this idea, Zay? For the Texans, Quentin Johnston out of TCU at 12.
Great pick.
I kind of like that too.
Great pick.
If you're going to have your quarterback earlier, you need to try to find him. Can you get him somebody to pair up with right away that could be a badass? You and I both agree. Johnston feels like the kind of guy that could be that guy.
He's so tough, man. And to be that big and to be that fast, I'm excited to see what he runs in the 40. Because if he runs 4.3, which I think that's what he's going to run at 6'5", man, that's flying. So we saw the deep shots that he had this year with Max Duggan, and he basically changed that offense. He was the difference maker. We know Kendre Miller was good, but, man, you were worrying where number 1 was on the field at all times. And he could take the top off. He's not afraid to go across that middle. And I think he's going to be a big yards after catch guy too. So, yeah, that'd be a very smart pickup, especially depending on getting C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young. You want somebody that they can bring in with him to build that chemistry over the next few years. I think Quentin Johnston could be that dude.
Yeah, I like that idea. Could still play in the state of Texas and things
That's
like
right.
that.
Temple guy.
Had to be fun for he and his family. Now, Zay's told us that if Bijan ends up as a Cowboy, he will become a Cowboy fan instantly. Zay, McShay is not going to have you as a Cowboys fan because he's got Baltimore taking Bijan at 22. Can you imagine if they can figure out the Lamar thing? You put a running back like that in the backfield with Lamar, and then you've got Todd Monken calling plays, who just proved to you at Georgia he can get a lot of different guys the football, a lot of different ways.
Yeah. I mean, that's nice. That sounds cool and all, but at the end of the day, if Lamar Jackson doesn't have a go-to wide receiver, then Baltimore is still going to be in the situation that they've been in recent years.
Yeah.
They might get to the playoffs. They might get close to the playoffs. But when you're facing a Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, who's in your own conference, who knows what Deshaun Watson's going to be next year, depending, just another year in Cleveland with all the off the field stuff kind of in the past. I don't think that will be as much, focused on this year with Deshaun Watson having the full season playing on week 1. You still got to worry about that. I don't think it will make a difference until Lamar Jackson gets that grade A wide receiver. There's still going to be an afterthought in the AFC.
Okay, how about this then? In this mock draft, after that 22nd pick, the next 2 picks he has are Jordan Addison from USC and Jackson Smith-Njigba from Ohio State.
Not bad.
So if you're the Ravens and those 3 guys are staring at you, you'd tell them to take one of the receivers instead of Bijan.
See, that's what I'm saying. I don't think those guys are going to do anything. Like, I think he needs,
really?
Yeah.
Okay, you don't think that either one of those guys could become that kind of receiver?
No.
Okay. All right. Those Smith-Njigba is an interesting one to me. I don't know.
Like, since those guys are next, I would take Bijan Robinson.
You'd go with Bijan. Okay. Cowboys pick 26th, and in this mock, Cowboys fans, McShay's got him taking Osiris Torrance, the guard out of Florida. That does not sound very flashy, but it never does, unless you're picking an offensive lineman way up high. Something to keep in mind, Zay, we talked a lot about the 2 running backs. Elliott might be a salary cap issue you got to deal with. Pollard, can you re-sign him, or is he going to end up out there on the market because he's a free agent? You know who else is a free agent? You know who else's contract is expiring? Connor McGovern. I didn't realize that. Connor McGovern, Mr. Utility Swiss Army knife, covering whatever you need on that offensive line. McGovern is a free agent. If he goes and truly tests the water, and that part's over, you really might need to look offensive line early and often in this draft. Just something to think about, Cowboys fans. I know that's boring. That is a boring thing to say because running back will sound interesting and the receiver position will sound interesting and cornerback will sound interesting. We had Justin Wells on earlier from Inside Texas. He said go corner at 26. Find a badass corner. I don't know. By the time they get there, if all that's going on the offensive line, is it just the best move to take blocking at that point?
Yeah, and if you go corner, somebody that I like that's a huge, big-time corner, you're going to feel old when I say this guy's name, Joey Porter Jr.
Oh, Lord.
Out of Penn State! Joey Porter Jr.!
Oh, my God.
Talk about feeling old. Even that makes me feel old,
Joey
Chad.
Porter has a child that's in the NFL draft now?
Yeah.
That's silly.
Yeah.
I already had to go through Patrick Surtain Jr. and all these. I'm just going through this wave of them now. Come on, man.
Yeah, he's 6'2", 194 pounds. That's where the NFL's going. They're going for those bigger corners. We know Steve Sarkisian, he wants to get those bigger corners down at the 40 acres. So You want guys like that. Now, I'm looking at Pro Football Focus, and he's number 4 on the defensive back chart, and I don't think the guys in front of him, I think they might be gone before the Cowboys get to that 26 pick, like Cam Smith out of South Carolina, Christian Gonzalez, Oregon, and Devon Witherspoon out of Illinois. So all 4 of those guys, what they have in common, they're all over 6 foot. All of them.
I love it.
So, I don't like that for somebody like Deshaun Jameson, who didn't even get invited to the combine this year. I know he was salty about that, and I know he's going to try to make his way to the NFL somehow, whether that's a free agent or who knows. Maybe he could get drafted at the very end on some Mr. Irrelevant type-ish. But, that's just for guys like that, those smaller cornerbacks.
Because he's just under that.
Yeah, he's like 5'10".
Right.
That's kind of where they're getting away from. And you saw how good of a year Sauce Gardner had. Like as a rookie coming out of Cincinnati, what he did for the Jets, first team All-Pro, and he's all of 6'3".
Yeah.
Like that's him. And Patrick Surtain is like 6'2", the second. That's just where the NFL is trending. So it's going to hurt guys like Deshaun Jameson. But, yeah, I'm with Justin Wells. The Cowboys this year, when they had those secondary guys go out due to injury, they became very vulnerable. So picking up one of those big-time, big muscular, big measurement corners. Not bad at all.
Yep. The length and the wingspan, very important at those positions.
Yeah.
Corner, safety, you're making up for lost space, and you're just trying to be as versatile as you can with all the stuff offenses are trying to throw at you. Over the years, I have fallen in love with the corners and safeties that are up in those height and wingspan areas. Give me a corner that's 6 foot or more. Give me safeties that are 6'2" or more, and let's go.
Yeah. Cam Chancellor is one of my favorite safeties of all time.
Yeah.
When everybody always tries to compare somebody to Cam Chancellor, it's tough to do that.
Yeah, it is. No, it's very. We've seen a great wave of badass safeties and what they can do to a defense. One played right here at Texas. What Earl Thomas ended up doing for an incredible defense. You mentioned who'd you just say? You just
Cam
said
Chancellor?
Cam Chancellor, right. We saw what Cam Chancellor on the same defense. You put them together and you really got danger there. A guy like Derwin James and what he can do for you, that versatility. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where the Cowboys go at 26. In a way, they may just need to wait and see how it all plays out and just go pick a really good football player because they need about 4 different things.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's absolutely one thing that's there. Probably would be better for them with all the Longhorn fans that always swirl around the Cowboys. Probably best if Bijan's off the board by then so they can just focus in on who do we need? What's the position you need? Because they're not taking another running back if Bijan's gone, I would assume.
How mad will Cowboy fans feel if the Eagles take Bijan Robinson?
Oh, good Lord.
Just let Miles Sanders go.
Good
Miles Sanders,
Lord.
you were a Pro Bowler for us this year, but we ain't trying to pay you, and we could get this guy on a rookie deal, and we could keep Boston Scott and Kenneth Gainwell and still have our really good running quarterback that broke records this year for rushing touchdowns. Yikes.
Yeah, the only way that would happen if it's first round is if the Cowboys let it pass, and then they take him at 30. But this mock has the Bills taking a running back, Gibbs out of Bama, and has the Eagles taking a tackle. But here's one for you. What if they all let him slide and the Chiefs were staring at him at 31? I mean, when they took Edwards-Helaire, everybody went, "Oh, good grief, that might work." What if they got Bijan? I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You think they're versatile now? Good grief.
Yeah, they probably won't do that because they're probably just going to say, you know what, we're just going to get another 7th-round running back somewhere, put him in our offense, and it's going to work.
Yeah, they just did it with Edwards-Helaire, Pacheco, and McKinnon, and it wasn't even that much Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah.
Because he was banged up. Yeah, they probably feel bad about taking him in the first round now. No, we shouldn't have done that.
Pacheco was tough in the Super Bowl, man.
He really was.
He had some really good runs. And to get hit like he did by Gardner Johnson and come back in the game and still be productive, that's a tough kid.
By the way, that hit, I think somebody is theorizing on the text line that that's what that tweet is referencing. The tweet is referencing that number 10 got the smoke from that's Gardner Johnson saying he got it, I guess. Because Pacheco is 10.
Right.
For the Chiefs.
Okay. It's not like you knocked him out.
Yeah.
He came back in.
He did. No, you're right.
And hurt y'all.
He's tough. He really is tough. That's what happens when you play at Rutgers, right? I mean, you did toughen you up.
Yeah.
You go play college football at Rutgers.
Jersey.
Go play in New Jersey.
In the Big Ten, when you know you're going to get your head smashed in week after week.
Yeah. You seen those Michigan-Rutgers scores lately? Whoo, Pacheco. He's being hardened in that conference. All right, coming up, we'll tell you why today matters. February 15th, couple of birthdays to hit in the entertainment world. One of them has a nice sports connection as well. We'll get you stems and seeds before we get out of here, and we've got a full Wednesday night lineup. We'll get you set up for it next on The Horn. This is Chad. Let's talk a little Apple leasing. If you're looking for a new car or it might be new to you, Apple leasing is a great way to go. The car I ended up with Apple leasing wasn't absolutely new. It had a couple miles on it, but it was one of those options I had. Hey, if you want to go new, it's this. This one's got this many miles on it, and here's your situation. That's the great option thing they have with the Easy Lease plan. They can get you all kinds of different options. Any make, any model, any car, any truck, and then they let you choose what is best for you. If something comes up during the lease process, they'll let you know what happens there. But what happens at the end of the lease process? You call and ask them. They'll tell you all of that. All I did was call 346-9977. I had a couple of easy conversations with Beth. She walked me through the process, and we were well on our way. It's the easiest and safest way to get a new car. You'll get the same discounts and incentives that the dealers do, but they pass the hassle. They keep the hassle for themselves, I should say, and they pass those savings on to you. You'll get all the rebates, all the deals, any holiday sales that are left over, all that is there. Hey, you got President's Day coming up. I'm sure there's dealerships that have got those specials going on, and they're going to be able to pass that on to you at Apple. 346-9977 or go to appleleasing.com. All right, rolling through a Wednesday. You're being nice to me on this Wednesday. Jay-Z.
That's right.
There we go. There we go. The number one hip-hop artist of all time, according to Billboard magazine.
According to Billboard, yeah.
My goodness. Jay-Z. That's not the part a lot of people have issues with, it feels like.
No.
Jay-Z at 1, it feels like people are living okay with that.
Yeah.
Who's in the top 4 or 5 or 10, well, top 5-ish. That seems to be okay with most people. There's just certain little arguments that Billboard threw out that some people can't deal with, like, why is Ice Cube that low?
Yeah, I saw a little clip that Fat Joe did on his podcast, and he's arguing for Big L to be in there, which we played Big L the other day. Big L ain't gonna make it. He's a good lyricist, but Fat Joe, he was like, I'm looking at this 50 who has, some people in this 50 don't have hits. I don't see no hits for some of these people who made the 50. So, yeah. And that goes back to my Andre 3000 point. What would Andre 3000 be without Big Boy? Because Outkast has hits.
Right. That's the wild part of that list to me, because I'm used to lists being either a straight-up artist list where a band could be in there. I'm not used to the argument strictly about the individual themselves. That's what makes it difficult, because then you're really breaking it down to that individual's talent.
Yeah, they had Q-Tip from A Tribe Called Quest, 27. But what would Q-Tip be without Phife Dawg? Like, people were asking on Specs text line that day, where's Phife Dawg?
And tonight he's not in there.
He's not even in the list.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh, all right.
Interesting. Jay-Z, the Archies, Faith No More, TNT, the Rascals. We had the great Young Star beat to start the hour.
By the way, Chad, that Jay-Z song, Girls, Girls, Girls,
yes,
don't expect to ever hear that live. Out of respect for Beyonce.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, because all Hove is doing on that track, he's literally going through every girl, every type of girl, different ethnicities and races and stuff. That's probably not, Queen Bee probably doesn't appreciate that.
I always like the delivery of holla at me when I come off tour. It had that tour. He kind of throws that word away. I love it.
Yeah.
I just love that.
Biz Markie on the hook. Love that song.
Holler at me when I come off tour. All right. So also a musical update for you, among other things, in why today matters. It's February 15th, day after Valentine's Day. We got some birthdays to hit and a couple other things. Here we go. Since we were talking music, let's start there, Zay. Today is the 28th birthday of a Texan done well. Megan Thee Stallion is 28 years old today. Born in San Antonio, ended up in Houston pretty quick. Prairie View A&M for a little while. Texas Southern is where she got the degree. I read up on her today. I hadn't known some of the details of her story. I didn't know her mom was a rapper.
Didn't know that either.
Took her to the studio instead of daycare.
Wow.
Kind of got ingrained in her, right? And apparently she started writing at 14. She brought her stuff to her mom at 18. Her mom said, you got to wait till you're 21 to get in the business. And said, I think your lyrics are a little bit sexually explicit for your age. But as we know now, that's kind of where Megan was headed. Happy birthday to Megan Thee Stallion, 28 years old. And just like Rihanna, Zay, there's just something about that look. And that's why the Rihanna show to me wasn't about what she was wearing or not wearing. Because all Rihanna has to do is look at me. And I'm frozen. And the same thing with Megan. There's something about that look they have. It is just so powerful and sexy, and I can't look away.
Yeah, Megan Thee Stallion, she's incredible. She's kind of taking a back seat because she got in a little bit of legal trouble with Tory Lanez, where she came out of it victorious, but Tory Lanez, kind of shot her. Or
well, I was going to say, wasn't there somewhere she got shot?
Yeah, she got shot.
Like bullets in her feet or something?
Yeah, bullets in the feet. And it was at Kylie Jenner's party, and supposedly they were fighting because Tory didn't like how out there Megan Thee Stallion was and her sexual history, which is with Ben Simmons and a couple other celebrities. So I know Megan Thee Stallion's probably embarrassed from all that. So she's taking the back seat. You don't see her in the limelight you once did before that happened.
Yeah.
So hopefully we see Megan Thee Stallion very soon, because I'm with you. There's something about her. She's a special one.
She definitely is. She almost got me to go to Popeyes and try that sauce. That's how
I tried it.
That's how sexy she is. I hate the super spicy stuff. I almost went and tried it just because of her.
Oh, I tried it.
Was it super hot?
It wasn't too hot.
Okay.
It was good, though.
They called it hottie sauce, didn't they?
Yeah.
That's brilliant. That is brilliant. All right. Now, also on the musical side of things, I am going through these Wu-Tang albums that you've had me listen to. I've gotten through Method Man, the Tikal album. I am now into the Old Dirty Bastard album. Return to 36 Chambers, the dirty version is the title, I think, of that album.
All right.
Which I love. So I'm enjoying that so far. I'm like 2-3 tracks in, not too deep in yet. So for you, I have 4 of the 5 albums that you need to listen to already chosen, and I just need my daughter to pick her album. Do you want me to tell you any of them now, or do you want me to save them for later?
Yeah, tell me now so I can start.
Okay. All right, so the 3 albums I want you to listen to are Appetite for Destruction by Guns N' Roses. I want you to listen to Back in Black by AC/DC. And I want you to listen to Body Count by Ice-T.
All right.
Those are the 3 from me. My wife has requested that you listen to Hysteria by Def Leppard.
Okay.
She's a Def Leppard freak. She wants you to listen to their biggest record, so that's where she's going. And I got to get back with you on my daughter. I don't know what she's going to have you listen to. I got to guess, but I don't know what she's going to have you listen to.
Okay. How about this? I'm going to listen to one of the albums that you recommended.
Okay.
The Def Leppard one that Wendy recommended.
Yeah.
And then the one that Monkey recommends.
Okay, you're going that order?
I'll go in that order.
Okay, that order. Fair enough. Yeah, I'll let you pick.
Starting today.
Okay, which one are you going with? Which one of those 3 are you going to go with? GNR, AC/DC, or Ice-T?
I'm going to go AC/DC.
Okay. It's an all-timer, man. 1980. It is the second.
No, change that. I'm going to go Guns N' Roses.
Okay.
Sorry.
For the AC/DC record, an interesting fact. It is the second best-selling album ever behind Thriller. Think about that for a second.
Which one is this?
Back in Black.
Back in Black.
1980. It is the second best-selling album of all time after Thriller.
Damn.
Yeah. It's an incredible crossover record. There's so many different walks of life that dug that record, that dug different tracks on there. I would argue there's 3 all-time tracks on there, and then the rest of it's really good too. It's just a great sample of what AC/DC could be. And to me, it's their best album. There's a couple others we throw in there, but it's got to be their best record.
All right.
So that's going to be fun. We're going to listen to some albums. We're going to have album reviews of all this stuff as we go along. Yes, I am listening to an Old Dirty Bastard album right now. Not as we speak right now, but, in this time period. All right. So Why Today Matters. We got all those in there. Let's give a nod to a couple other birthdays. Christopher McDonald is 68 today. That's Shooter McGavin from Happy Gilmore.
I heard he hates to be called Shooter McGavin.
No. I don't think. Well, does he like being called Shooter? That's a different issue. That dude has embraced that role because he just showed up at the Waste Management walking around talking about Shooter. He put that picture out years ago of him and Tiger Woods, and he said, look, the greatest golfer ever just met Tiger Woods.
Okay.
And he likes it. He takes it in.
One of my favorite villains of all time.
Oh, he's a great villain. He's awesome.
Like every time I play putt-putt, I do the little finger thing after I make a shot. Every time I play it, my wife's like, what are you doing? I'm like, that's Shooter McGavin. And she's like, what are you talking about? And she can't stand Adam Sandler, so we have yet to watch Happy Gilmore together, which
you should at least get
is
her
an issue.
If there's one, she should be able to get through that one. Not bad.
Like we watched The Wedding Singer the other day. It took a lot for her to watch that.
Really?
And I think that's just because she likes Drew Barrymore.
Okay.
So
well, then you got 2 more movies you could watch there. You got 50 First Dates and Blended.
Yeah, we've seen Blended. I wouldn't recommend that. It's if Shaq's one of your good cameos in the movie, probably not the best.
My girls dig Blended. I'm with you. It's my least favorite of those 3 because it's such an out there, just loud movie. It's really loud. Everything.
Terry Crews is awful in it.
It's just so like over the top. Everything is so weirdly attempted and whatever, but the girls dig it.
I'm low key offended they made Terry Crews be that African. And I'm black as hell. And if I'm offended by that, then wow.
You're offended on the base level, or you're offended because you don't think he did a good job?
Both.
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 Terry Crews and the overly done African accent
Good
was
grief.
a little too much. All right, there you go. Why Today Matters. It's also Chris Farley's birthday today. He would have been 59 years old. Shout out to the great Chris Farley. Rest in peace.
Favorite Chris Farley movie?
Favorite Farley movie for me would be Tommy Boy.
Yeah, it's got to be Tommy Boy.
Yeah.
I've never heard anybody say Beverly Hills Ninja.
Never saw it. Never saw that one. And I've only seen part of Black Sheep. I've never seen all of that.
Black Sheep's funny.
It's good, I know, but it's kind of a derivative of Tommy Boy in a way. So that was the original, getting he and David Spade together. I'll go with that one.
Yeah, just not enough work. Sad.
No, he was so good, and he's one of those guys you wish you could have convinced him that he was so good. But he did absolutely destroy himself after putting together a hell of a career. Rest in peace to Chris Farley. Go get some Chris Farley stuff today, kids, if you have not. All right, coming up, we'll set you up for the Wednesday night lineup. We got a full run, including the Longhorn Blitz podcast, including Wednesday Night Flex, and a special interview from the Fight Night guys. We'll lay it all out for you next on the Horn. All right, let's talk a little underdog fantasy. Easiest way to play fantasy sports. I know football season is over, but you can put a pick'em game together with all kinds of different sports. I'm looking at the app right now. NBA, NHL, little college basketball, soccer. As an example, how about Zach LaVine? Chicago at Indiana tonight, 5.5 rebounds, higher or lower. 4 assists, higher or lower. 27.5 points, higher or lower. That's what you're looking at. Your player and the higher or lower on the particular stat for your chance to win big. You can win up to 20 times your money in a single game. Just pick between 2 and 5 players to build that pick'em entry, and you get them all right. You win. You can also look at the rivals picks, pitting 2 players against each other on specific stats. Look at the pick insurance option, which also increases your chance to win. It's so easy to set up. Again, I just looked it up on my phone in 3 seconds. Sign up today with promo code HORN, and you'll get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Visit UnderdogFantasy.com or find them in the App Store. And don't forget to register with my promo code HORN to get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Must be 18 or over and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit www.ncpgambling.org. It's the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. It's Underdog Fantasy.
Dang it. I'm so mad. Of course.
Of course we ended up with a commercial.
The computer freezes.
Okay, hang on.
During our last segment.
I think I've got this. Barbecue Austin. This is Barbecue Austin from the rodeo, right? That's fantastic. Fantastic.
Oh, man.
That's okay. You're just trying to give softball a little extra love.
That's right.
You're trying to remind everybody that 105.3 The Bat is back on the air. The signal is back.
That's right.
Congratulations and well done to all the technical side of things. Dave Williams, our incredible engineer, and our engineering staff getting everything back on the air. Softball, as you heard Craig talk about it in the Craig Way Report, first home game for them this year. If you want to get out there and see Coach White's crew, that is this evening, 6 o'clock on that first pitch and 5:45 pregame. Great weather to get out to McCombs and check out softball. Got baseball starting this weekend, of course, up in Arlington, weather controlled with 3 different SEC teams. We'll be previewing that as the week goes on. Also, Ball Don't Lie with Rod and Harge coming right up at 3. Then we've got Wednesday Night Flex for you, covering high school sports at 7. Our man Zach Lucero was on earlier with us. Coach Salazar from Westlake talking Westlake football. Hopefully they're going to grab. They're going to trying to get Brody Bueno from Hutto, the talented linebacker out of Hutto, and then Garen Duncan, the receiver out of Dripping Springs, one of my favorite guys to watch last year. They're hoping to grab him at 7:45 this evening. Then at 8 o'clock, it's the Longhorn Blitz podcast for you Longhorn football freaks. You got to catch that. Jeff Howe, Rod Babers, Matt Butler talking Longhorn football. Fight night at 9, including their interview with Cheeto Vera. Cheeto's going to be in that main event in San Antonio coming up. Tickets on sale if you want to go check out the UFC in San Antonio. And then tonight at 10, it's Sports Guys talking wrestling. We're headed towards Elimination Chamber in WWE and, of course, ultimately WrestleMania. So there's a lot of stuff going on our Wednesday night lineup tonight. It's Chad and Zay on the horn. I'm going to check one more time before I say this. We got almost to 700 subscribers on YouTube during the show. We're at 699. We do appreciate you for that. You can't get to 1,000 until you get to 700. So we need one subscriber to get us to 700. YouTube.com/@thehornaustin if you want to check out the YouTube channel. We've got short videos, a little bit longer videos. We got the full shows on there for you if you are the kind of sicko that wants to watch us do the show. Do you understand these people, Zay? I don't understand these people.
Well, easy for you to say, Chad. I'm a sex symbol.
Well, that's true. I'm not fun to look at. So they do want to tune into you because they want to see the neck pillow. They want to see
the dark chocolate on fleek.
They want to see the Nike. See that Nike shirt. They want to see it all going on.
Yeah. I'm just a sports Idris Elba. That's how I feel.
I have always felt that way. Yeah. Every time I see Idris Elba in a movie, I think, who does he remind me of? It's never been you one time. I got to be honest with you.
I like some macaroons, like Idris would.
He's a handsome ass dude.
That's a handsome brother.
Good Lord. And then when you hear him talk.
Oh, man.
When you see him in a movie and he's doing like the American accent, that's one thing. But when you get to hear him with the British accent, oh, my God.
Yeah, Luther.
You talk. Come on. Oh my God. He was good look. I mean, like he was attractive enough and had it going on enough in The Wire as Stringer Bell.
Yeah.
But then when I heard him with the British accent, I thought, oh, okay, this is also why every woman on earth wants Idris Elba.
Yeah, he was the sexiest man alive like a few years ago.
Yeah, I understand. There was a thought of weren't they thinking about him for the next James Bond?
They were.
Why didn't that happen? I like that idea. He can pull it off. He's got that suave thing going on.
Yeah, he can pull it off.
Because they went with
009 or something.
Did they release the one with the woman in it yet? They released that idea?
I don't think so.
That was an idea they had out there. I can't remember if they ever made that movie or not. I know that was a discussion they had. Stems and Seeds, avconsultations.com, 255-8678. Tonight, Zay, you mentioned this. Bama at Tennessee, number 1 at number 10, 6 o'clock, ESPN2. What's the better result for Texas here? Both these teams are looking at 1 seeds, correct?
Yes.
So what's the better result for Texas? Get Bama that first SEC loss and knock them down a peg, or get Rick Barnes' team out of the top 10?
I guess get Rick Barnes' team out of the top 10 with them beating Texas. earlier this year. I would want Texas, if they were to get the 2 seed, to have the easiest route in the 1 seed bracket. So go against the number 4 team, 1 seed, which who knows who that would be, instead of being pushed back and having to play a real tough one like a Purdue if you make it to the Elite Eight.
Right. Maybe you're dealing with, like, could Houston be like back into that 1 seed list?
Yeah, they could
maybe
be
something like that.
Yeah, Alabama too.
Or Alabama. And in tonight's case, you're at Tennessee, so that'd be extra bad for Tennessee if they lose it at home.
Right.
So maybe that's what you hope for if you're Texas. We're not telling you to root for Alabama, Texas fans. I know that's very difficult to do. Not that. But that game is tonight. ESPN2, 6 o'clock if you want to peek in on that. We'll be back for a Thursday show tomorrow. I'm going to go do a little research on that Houston Roughnecks team in the XFL. I'm trying to convince Zay to watch some XFL. The list of quarterbacks for the Dallas team did not help today, because it's 3 dudes I've never heard of. So Zay had no shot. No shot. And now I got no shot at getting you to watch them. I got to try for Houston tomorrow.
If they let Josh Gordon smoke the chronic on the sideline, I'll watch it.
I got to find out where he is.
Seattle.
Okay, he's on that.
It's legal there.
He's on the Sea Dragons team.
Yeah.
All right, I'll double check that. You know what? Maybe I'll go look at that team, see if I can find anybody else in legal weed land that might be interesting to you. I'll go do that research for you.